We'll see if anybody shows up. What's going on? What's up, Fire Drake? I mean, I didn't bring my new tripod with me, so sorry about the lack of focus here. Okay, there we go. So check it out. We will. I know I don't know how this works that well for people when they get notifications and when they don't, when they show up. Some people show up like 10 minutes in. Some people show up right when I give them notification. And I don't know if the notification gets to you when I originally post it, or if I change it, do you get another notification? I don't know how that all that shit works. But here I bees, and let's just talk about. I think there's so many things that I could go in on and talk about that. I find sophomoric or kind of basic or just run-of-the-mill nonsense that I don't want to preach to the choir. I don't want to go over things that already are known, but sometimes I think I have to put a little bit of base knowledge out there for people that don't understand or don't know what I'm saying. So let's do, in saying that, what I'm saying is this, that I should do some videos, some intro videos into the more basic things. Like, so many people are out now, like, they on this. Hey, there you go. Check it out if you want, Daniel. For sure, man. But of course.
Which one you into?
Yeah. You can feel free to dig into that for a little bit if you want, man.
I'm gonna randomly look at a sentence and make it my mantra.
My man right here is gonna divine some mantra today. I love it. So see, this is next level. This is beyond level. This kind of interaction type shit. So there's a lot of people out here today that what they're doing is they get into these ideas and understandings, and they're like, well, how do you get to this point?
100% accuracy is possible if time is not a factor.
That is a great meditation.
If you remove time from the equation, then everything happens all at once, and therefore everything is 100% accurate. There would be no other way.
So he just divined out of this book that is called The Immortal that I had sitting here, and he just came over and asked if he could look at the book, and he said, I'm gonna divine my day out of one sentence in that book, and he said 100% accuracy is possible if time is not a factor. That's some next level shit right there, which is perfect timing for me to reiterate my earlier points here, that a lot of people that pay attention to this in the future, they get into this and they feel like, why do you know what you know? You know, somebody starts researching the Red Hats and the Illuminati and the Freemasons and all the symbolism and shamanism and name something, etymology, numerology, the stars, and they get into all this and they immediately form some opinions, some very strong opinions about certain types of crews, clubs, ideas, belief systems, understandings. And I think that when people hear me speak, they think that I'm just wilding out saying some stupid shit sometimes, because they don't understand that I have basic footing in this shit. Somebody said something to me the other day, and I was just like, man, I've been doing this since, like, you was like sticking your hand in your diaper eating shit. I mean, like, really, like, I don't mean to be like some old fucking OG out here saying some shit. I'm just saying, like, I've consciously went through these things that they're like little stop points where they check this out. You can't overstand the whole thing at once. It's like eating a dinosaur, bite by bite. That's how you eat it. And they would say about elephants, how do you eat an elephant? Bite by bite. So when I make these wild statements, there's much foundation and much base level knowledge in certain little things, and I normally don't do those one-on-ones, and I've said this expressly and explicitly many times that I don't do one-on-ones for people. But I just got so interested in why it's called the T-Rex, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. I mean, and how you must know that that's a complete illusion, that there's no way. I'm gonna give the statement first, and then I'm gonna give some humor behind it. How's that? statement is, if you can find dinosaur bones today, why aren't they made into fuel? How did they get preserved and the other things got turned into fuel? There were that many dinosaurs that were making fuel in the earth, that their bones decayed and became the fuel that you found as crude oil that then turn into gasoline to fuel your car. It's idiotic to believe that because you haven't done your research at all, and you're taking someone's granted word about dinosaurs from millions of years ago. So I would only expect all of the bones to be turned into oil, but these ones were special. They got preserved, right? But why do they call it a T-Rex? Look at it. Tyrannosaurus? It sounds like tyranny to me. It also sounds like tranny to me. So what age are we in? It's a transition age. Transition age is also a tranny age. So the transmutation or trans amalgamation, transformation, any word you want to use there, it is a, look at what a Tyrannosaurus Rex is. And what does Rex mean? Rex means king. The tyranny king, the tyranny king, or the tranny king. And if you look into all of the ancients and the ancient literature on the idea and the symbolism of the god, it wasn't necessarily, it was a hermaphrodite, which can also be confused with a transvestite, which, because you don't know what it is. But we surely know that depending on how you break the word down and how you comprehend it, tyranny ain't a real good thing. And what's that dude's name? Remember in everyone's favorite show, his name is Tyranny. Tyranny, right? Think of what that symbolism does to the unconscious. You see this dinosaur that's got tiny little arms that can't do shit. I mean, if you look at the basics of it, they've already modeled these things. They would never even stand. Like they would fall apart. There'd be too much pressure on the bones. Why would they even grow those hands? Those weird little, whoa, for what? For nothing. Because it's a figment of your imagination. Somebody designed that and built that. It's forged fakery. But it's based upon that word, trans, what do we have? Trans fats and transhumanism, transgenders, transformation, trans whatever. And so I find a lot of humor in the people that are, you always say, these old dudes of dinosaurs. They suck in dinosaur dick. If people are out here like lying about dinosaurs to make money, they're sucking dinosaur dick to get cash. If something doesn't even exist, you know what I mean? I just find a lot of humor in it, especially the fact that they're just out and out to say it's called the tranny Rex, a T-Rex, the king of tyranny, the king of transvestites. And that leads you into the logic of well, there must be a bigger play here. If you get off of the board, if you get off of what you've been told and start to look at things in nature and look at what's going on around you and start to evaluate for yourself using your own footing, your own understanding of things, and you start to think and just ask a few questions, you come to some very, very serious points about larger archonic forces. And those archonic forces are also brought down into symbols. Those archons have a symbol that represents that, and that symbol has a type of energetic system. It is. If you build something with a triangle, it's going to be more sturdy than if you built it with a square. This is certain. Now start to do that math in 3D. Now do that in 4D. And all of a sudden you have to go, okay, what do you mean? So you're saying there's things out there that are energetic constructs that then form shapes, that then those shapes become three-dimensional things. Yes, this is how it works. And then people speak these things that are mimics. It's like it's mimicking the energy of archonic forces. And this is why we use the shapes we do. There's nothing good or bad or indifferent about it. It just is. It's just how it works. So when people say something like T-Rex or Tyrannosaurus Rex, your thought is tranny. It's what is the letter T? It's Jesus. It's a cross. You have to. These are the things that are built into you when you come through the birthing chamber and through your first 5 years. You don't even remember, but you were programmed fucking hard to know that these things associate with these things. And things that you do now, you have no idea why you do them, but they were programmed into you. Now you can work with those programs. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are indifferent. You can adjust and work with those programs as long as you know that they're running. And the T-Rex oil coming from dinosaur bones is one of the most laughable. But we all buy into it. We love that shit. So many cars, there's so many cars, so much gas, so much oil. It's so much easier to get oil from, say, corn, huh? You know how easy it would be to take oil that's been used and spent and turn in crude oil and then refine it and then turn it back into gasoline again? Yeah, it's pretty easy. You don't need to know that, though. How's that gonna help you? That ain't gonna help you. It ain't gonna help you to know that gas ain't made from dinosaur bones. That ain't gonna help you. I mean, it would help you if you knew that, to know that, okay, there's a foundation of other bullshit that there's the lies that you pay for, that you fund. You fund people to lie to you. It's a weird system, but it functions. It functions. What's up, Juniperus? What's up, Neem? What's up, Fire Jake? What's up, Jordan Whelan? So I don't know. I think I blew my load on the transvestite dinosaur chest. I don't really have anywhere else to go with that. I was snickering about it. I thought it was humorous and also very revealing and about how they use. There's always the they. How language is used to get people to respond in a certain way. Buy this. Be fearful of that. Don't buy this. What's up, brother? Beautiful sunshiny walk-in. What's up, D-Man? Nuke the narrative, blow loads on dinosaurs. That's right. That's what we do here. That's what we do on the show. We blow we blow chief loads on King Dinosaur's chests all day. That's all we do. Jordan, maybe everybody was so engulfed in what I was saying, because sometimes when I start speaking at a certain rate of speed and it's so hypnotic, it puts people in a trance where they don't have time to type, and they're so engaged in listening and they have nothing to say. And I enjoy that, and I like that when that happens. It means that I'm either doing something right, or that there's really not 24 people here. It's just me and a room full of Juniperus, you're welcome to come ashore. I kind of want some coffee right now because it would go really good with the cigar that I want to smoke, but I don't really want to drink coffee because I think it'll keep me up till all hours of the fucking night. Let me hood it up, yo. It's a little chilly. Is the oh, D-Man is the I like the line of question. That's a tough one, man. I don't know. Like, have you ever met someone that has changed through snipping or clipping or zipping or whatever the fuck they do? I don't think it is, because I think people are very easily manipulated. I don't think as many people are as, and there's also the early life trauma that people go through, and I think even at birth, I think this happens. I think it's happened to people at birth. that the sexes get switched, they would never know. You start immediately with hormone therapy. You know, right when they come out the womb, snip their shit, and all of a sudden, there's no sign of. I mean, there's going to be a few signs. The few signs I think that will show up will probably be muscular shoulders, the shoulders right here, because men can't lift their. See, like I can't get my arm past here because I have a muscle here that's masculine characteristic. A woman can lift her hand straight up. She doesn't have the same muscle here. So that's one way you can tell, but I don't know like if what parts of the DNA are gonna be kept intact. But that's just a guess that I have. I can't say for sure, but I mean who knows? And for what reason? And you know, I get it from the spiritual level of why. Because somebody did a video about this a long time ago, and. I mean, I get you. Just got you when you talk about it, you got to say it like from a spiritual level. Everything is transmuted to a form of no. Everything is sex, but there's no sex in it, right? I mean, everything is sexual. Everything is infinitely male and female, or you know. See, they're doing it through a switching, and it's you can't. The physical realm is made this way for a reason. You can't balance out this physical realm in the way that the androgynous origin is balanced. The androgynous origin is zero. It's nothing. But then you start to transgender things. That's fucking with something that you probably shouldn't fuck with. That would be my guess. There doesn't seem to be a lot of reason to, unless you're so manipulative. Like to think of how insane you'd have to be. To think that you could change a child, come out the womb because you wanted a baby boy or you wanted a baby girl, and you know, fucking snipping things around. That's a dilemma, ain't it? Because then you've given no one a choice, right? But then we have to get into all of that. Like, well, when have we really ever had choice? Because you don't know shit until you're 5 years old, anyways. And then at that point, you're already pretty trained, so you're gonna go along with a bunch of programs, and you just accept them as such. But do I think that, you know, as you said, is the training thing a hoax? I don't think it's a hoax. I just think that the level of how much it's happening, I think, is a hoax. People love to mimic shit all the time, and there's plenty of you know, butchy chicks and plenty of feminine dudes and you know whatever. But that's usually comes from quite a bit of training. Call it like television or family or whatever, and then also the ingestion of certain hormones and chemicals within foods that also are fucking with people's heads and things, chemical imbalances and mutated this and blah blah blah. Like I mean, again, I've said this plenty of times, I think we're all pretty much hybrids of something. We've all been mutated to a degree, which is perfectly fine. But I always question what would we look like? What would we be like if it wasn't for all of the excessive training of programs and instilling programs to get us to be, you know, pieces of the larger puzzle, bricks in a wall, these kind of things. Jordan, you have not seen this shirt before? Do you like it? I just got it. That's why I haven't seen it before. And this hat is corduroy, yes. Is life a meditation? It's the first beer in months. Are you gonna let the parasites in? I don't know. That's up to you, man. I don't think beer lets parasites in. I think if you drank 400 beers, you'd probably have a problem. But a couple beers are actually putting the good bacteria, good system in that will eat away at the dying systems. I mean, that's what they do, right? Isn't that what beer you call it, bacteria or cultures? Those kind of cultures. There are obviously better cultures and worse cultures we can see all over the globe. For all you globies. We can see all over this realm. We can see all this flat plane. We can see wherever the fuck we are. That some cultures are definitely have a better thing about them than other cultures. What better is up to, but as far as beer goes, those cultures within beer, they tend to side on the idea of life. They eat away at dead things and turn those dead things into life. So beer in every way is a life-giving substance. If it's negative or positive, that's up to you. Carson, what's up, man? Yeah, I assume as much. I assume there's people in the background working and I just talk. The devil made me do it. There's the life is a meditation. The parasites made me do it. The devil made me do it. It runs the same, runs akin. All interaction is very sexual. I mean, it's not as it hopefully, you know, I mean, look at it. If you look at something very bright and shiny, it's like, it's like the Saturday Night Live bit about the baby, the immigrant and the guy in mushrooms. And then when they look at something, they go, because it's just amazing to look at, and you become inspired. And energy is there's a vibration that occurs. So looking at things, it's the reason a man is turned on by sight, but a woman is turned on oftentimes by sound and the types of sound. Dudes usually have a less of a threshold for sound. They just want to see something and like, oh, that's what I want. And a woman wants to hear the beautiful music and, you know, sweet nothings and all of that. The emotion of that. So there's something different there. But for us listening to music, that's like, shit, that's making love to my ears. You know, when somebody's playing music, I mean, they're tickling my ear holes from across the room. So everything we're interacting with is you know, to some degree sexual. I mean, everything is not intercourse. Not everything is going to build, you know, produce a child, but it is sexual. I mean, just like every sexual act isn't with the expressed concern about creating another life form, because it doesn't. It does in a sense, in another realm. It does in the sense of when you sexually communicate with somebody, you create some sort of bond with them, which then triangulates. So there is something that works off of that. But you could do the same thing walking through a grocery store and look at a dude or look at a chick, and you could have sexual union right there, and they're gonna have a fantasy about you that night. So it did create some sort of child. But in the physical realm, everything that is sexual doesn't necessarily create next of kin. Selene Lion, what do you know about what people are made of? Stick with the limited knowledge that you have, matey. I don't know what that part meant. What do I think people are made of? Do you mean like the sense of what are each of these atoms made of? Do you want me to give you the breakdown of like the 20 things that are pretty much listed in the human body, or do you want to get down to the basics of consciousness, or do you want to go to the atoms, or do you want to get on a cellular level, or like there's a lot of ways to play that game. The made of experiences, is that a fun one? Well, thank you, Juniper. What's up, B. Johnson? B. Johnson, yes, this is correct. It would, but they're going to have to know they're going to get the shits. It's like why people go out and they have this terrible diet and they get the shits and they blame it on drinking. No, drinking doesn't give you the shits unless you're eating a bunch of garbage that it needs to eat away at. So yes, like if you take anything, carbohydrates and things, how do you think beer is made? You take grains, carbohydrates, sugars, etc., put them into the pot, heat it up, and put a little bit of yeast in there. You could use any kind of yeast you want. It could be wild yeast, it could be specific kind of yeast, and that yeast then starts to multiply and eat that thing away, turn it into life, get rid of the carbohydrates, sugars, etc., and turn that death of that carbohydrate into a living system that is actually breathing. And it becomes the thing that we see as beer. And that's what it'll be doing inside of the body too. So a lot of people can become quite sick But it's not the beer that's doing it. It's the fact that they have so much garbage in their body that the beer is actually, for a lot of people, beer is keeping them alive, or alcohol is keeping them alive, because their diet is so absolutely trash. But I mean, they look like garbage too. But you know, if they didn't have the alcohol or beer, they'd be dead in a day. They'd be dead in 2 days. Can you think of the amount of wounds people have inside of their body that if it wasn't for alcohol, which is cleansative to the wound on the outside, it does the same thing on the inside, how badly people's internal system would be fucked up? Jordan, I seen Norb's World's new one. It's pretty awesome. Yeah. Just insane. Everything isn't a stimulant, but I mean, I'm guessing you're coming from the point of when we were talking about sex. So some stimulation. Some things are depressants, though. Oh yeah, whatever, man. Yeah. Of course, selenium ion. Yeah, I mean, you can judge people, you can judge ideas, or you can judge people. You can talk about people, you can talk about things, or you can talk about ideas. That's about the size of it. One is past, one is present, one is future. Ciders and champagnes. Brian Zen, how did I take that picture? That was a picture of me fucking a car. That was me. In fact, it's a website. Well, it's on Reddit, but I just went to Google and looked up dragons fucking cars. But it is a page on Reddit that every couple days somebody's gonna draw a pretty awesome picture of a dragon fucking a car. So I don't know where you find this shit, but it's there. So what's else? What's up, guys? What else? Yeah, Brandon, go find that. It's good shit. It's really good. It's really funny. Yeah, selenium ion. I mean, this is what the whole mud flood thing is about. You know, the whole erasing history. I mean, get into Aldous Huxley's work. Get into, you know, play any with those books, certainly. I mean, we've already been pretty much. We're as aware as we've ever been, you know, as a species because of the internet. But there's obviously a giant divide amongst these things. It was earlier I was listening to Tom Robbins or Aldous Huxley or who was it? Let me see if I can do the quote right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to revisit it. It was just a quote about what you're saying about like just changing the history and losing the history and losing what we think where we come from. If you don't know where you're from, like what are you gonna do? Where are you gonna go with that? Like, you know, like someone like a king without a castle, you know. And if there is a they, as people like to say, like they, what is their are they immortal? Do they already produce technological immortality for themselves? So they've grown very weary of life. Turkey is a vulture. That's why we eat these things, huh? The venom puts people to sleep. Well, you know, sometimes you got to be eating snake poison too, you know. Turkey is a vulture. I like that. It's so funny. Meatwad I used to live in at the forest basically, and there's people that lived around that had turkeys, like giant turkeys. Meatwad would always go run and play with the turkeys. It's hilarious. She'd play with the cows and turkeys and the horses and shit. But yeah, she always chased the turkeys around. Yeah, I wish I could give you a better quote because I heard it earlier today. So funny that you said that, and I forget what the wording was. Apollucid? What's up, Zet Chrono? What's up, man? Kind of like the colors. Are you guys getting a nice purpley background too? Zet Chrono, Apollucid Rising? Is that a planet, my dude? Is that a star system? Juniperus, I haven't watched Awaken Brave. His last channel got taken down, right? And then he re-uploaded all of his stuff, and so it's in a, for me, it's just in a, like a random format. Like I'll see one video where he's got his beard, the next video it's shaved, the next video he's eating a bunch of mushrooms, the next video he's I don't know. No, I haven't, by the way. So that if there's any order to, because he has like 4 channels now, I think 3 at least. So I like, for me, it's like whenever I need some of Awaken Brave, that energy, I go click on it. But no, I haven't really. It's because he's been putting all of his old videos up. That's what, at least what it seems like. Oh, I see. Hey, Juniperus and Zet Chrono. I seen that was on Thanksgiving, right? Or right around Thanksgiving, the day after. You hung out with Cortese, and what, didn't Maya and Jin come on there too? I was fucking toasted, man. I was gonna come on and join you guys, but I was 2 turkey necks deep, you know. So I'm thinking about trimming this motherfucker off. I don't know. This is as long as I've let it go in a while, so I'm kind of happy with it, but it's also kind of getting a little straggly. I'll give it a couple more days. We'll see. So who else up in here? Let it dreadlock. I could kind of knot it up a little bit. My beard doesn't dread. My hair dreads pretty quickly. But I'm not really interested in dreads. So I mean, I get it. I might let one of my locks grow out, but I don't know about like my whole head. I ain't really. But yeah, maybe we'll see, man. I like the feeling of a comb through my hair sometimes. I like having not an itchy scalp. You know what I mean? I still live in this. It's not. I don't think it's a reasonable thing for people that live in any kind of city scope. I don't think it's reasonable to have dreads, not because of any other reason than it's just dirty here. You know, people are like dirty hippies. Well, yeah, it's actually clean out there. It's like if you're in nature, then dreaded hair is perfectly fine. It's fit for the area. But once you get in the city, like, you have to shower, you've got to bathe, you've got to clean your hair, you're getting a film and a filth and skunk all over you, So because I still do have enough time in life in the city life, that I still enjoy it. That's probably the only reason I wouldn't dread it out. You dread it out though, D-man. Yeah, well. I mean, if it works for you, dude, and you live in an area, in a climate where it's, you hear what I'm saying though, like, it's just, that's not really suitable for just the climate, the area. Like, if people can pull it off, I know some dreads around here. But that's the thing, do your damn thing. But that's commitment, that's excellent shit. Oh, hey, Zach Chrono, I didn't realize. No. When did you do it, Zach? Cause I remember looking at the thing and going, look at this slack jaw motherfucker right here. Oh, it dreads up that quick. And you redhead too, huh? You got a little red in there, right, D-man? Jordan, what is... Yeah, and also, D-man, in the winter, so winter's gonna be usually drier, right? And then you're gonna be, the electricity is gonna be a little different, so it's gonna cause a little bit of different friction in the hair, the static electricity going on. And what do I mix with my kratom? It depends, but this is pineapple, and it's so funny because I ordered a different drink, and the person that was working, we were just having this long conversation, and I ordered a different drink, and then she gave me something I didn't ask for. Now I remember, because I was like, because he asked me what did I get, and they do different mixes here, and they have one that's like it's orange juice and hemp milk and kratom and something else, and it tastes like one of those orange popsicles with the orange cream popsicles. It's pretty good, but it's pretty simple. Kratom, pineapple, and ginger, and the ginger is really good on the tummy too. Oh, Gazette Chrono was just yesterday. Okay, man, we'll have to. Oh, 50 Shades of Gay. That's right. I remember. I was going to actually comment 50 Shades of Gay on there, and I thought I should be polite and not. What's up, Justin Sane? Yeah. Sequence. Funny. I almost bought some sequins shoes the other day. Those little shiny sequins, that you get on jackets and you can bedazzle everything with. Let's see, sequence. I mean, I think you pretty much have already done it in your head. I mean, I think sequence. I think you got water would be C, and then or cup or chalice is the letter C, and then quince. So isn't quince mean? Is it 7? No. Isn't a number associated with quince? Quince is 5. I'm just playing around here with this, but yeah, consequence and let's see how to do this. Sequence, nexus. I mean, sequence, I guess you could turn into nexus somehow. And see, a lot of ways you can decode words too is start playing with the sounds. Play with the sounds first and flip the sounds around. And it might not give you what it means, but it might give you the antithesis to it. It might give you the opposing viewpoint of it. It's why most, so many words have, it can mean this or that. So you can find antonyms and synonyms for it. But if you're just playing with the letters, because all letters have a number value, you can kind of flip them around. It's going to equal the same thing, but it's just going to be like a 417 word is the same as a 714 word, but not really. It's kind of, but not really. If that makes sense. So if I can't think of a word off the top of my head, let's figure out a word that's pretty simple that you could just play with like 4 or 5 letters that you could flip around and rearrange, and you know, find the anagrams of it. Play with it. If you've ever looked up the website, it's called Anagram Solver, and put in some words in there. That's a lot of fun to play with. So you can do your anagram solver and then do gematria. So if you do anagrams and gematria, those two together, you can really dissect the language, especially like the word sequence as you're putting it there. I'm trying to think of some other sequence. So what is in sequence, you know? So if you do 1, 2, 3, 4, so would sequence be something with synchronicity? Synchron, sequence, yeah. Play around with that. I'll play with that later. Let's see if I can't get you a little better answer for that. Oh, it's 5. Quince. There we go. It's 5 in French. Quince. Could mean C5, B35. Now I'm playing really long. I said this a long time ago in one of my writings, and I don't bring it up too often because I don't think too many people are deep into etymology as much as etymology and how language ciphers and functions in a really interesting way. But sometimes I'll be just saying weird shit and I'm like, why would that make sense? Like, it doesn't make sense to you because you're solving it in the opposite direction. Like, if you knew the code, then it would be simple for you to see why this is the code. But if they're using 10 different coding systems to code something, you don't know which. You're like, well, why does that equal 35? Well, because C is the third letter and 5 is quince. So sequence would be C5, which is 35, and 35 would then equal. See, that's how you have to play with these things. That's how you play the game of figuring this shit out. But you know, so there is some standard rhyme and reason to certain. Obviously, there's some standard gematria codes, and there's standard ways. The Isisian codes are pretty standard as well, and there's some other standard codes. But then beyond that, to get to like, what does that really mean? You got to play around with it a little bit, and then you can unlock things of what does it mean underneath that. So you know, you got to travel backwards in time with language. You got to find some original root languages. Then you got to find what do these link up with, and then you can find those linking up with numbers. And so if that makes sense, hopefully that makes sense for you. Hey, fee fi fo fum. Yeah, smell the blood of an Englishman. Amanda Mallet, are there many different types of ammonia? I can't answer that off the top, man. I don't know. Obviously there's different ways of producing a very similar chemical. But when we say ammonia, just like when you say acid or alkaline, like how acidic or how alkalinic is it? And you know, the pH level, the potential of hydrogen, and there's certain chemicals that just are slightly different. That will have like you can use certain kinds of acids to clean things, but then again there are certain kinds of acids you shouldn't use because there's extra elements in there that will screw up. Say you want to clean silver, you can use this kind of acid, but don't use that kind, right? And if aged pea smells like ammonia and die-off does, I don't know about die-off smelling like ammonia. I don't know how to balance that one for you. But aged urine, like good aged urine used on the skin, is pretty excellent stuff. And there you go, synchronization, cinco. What's up, Joe Mama? Sync. To sync something. So there you go, cinco, sync. And then the quince or sync. So there we go, there's some fun ones. Syncing it up with the 5s. So it's con synchronicity. I like that, yeah. Con sync, dude. It's like the word conspire or inspire. Like, what is conspire? What is spire? Spire is spiritual. Is it conning the spirit? But then again, to conspire is not a wrong word. Everyone in the world conspires to do things. You can conspire to do something good. You can conspire to do something stupid. You can conspire to go get McDonald's right now. I make a phone call. Hey, come pick me up. You want to be my co-conspirator to go get some McDonald's? Like, yeah, that's it's just one. It's just using the word in the right way. But as far as like spire is an interesting word because it's the word breath or to breathe or spirit. And I like that. I like that link up there. So with the Sinke and the Khan, and which is funny, Zet Chrono, his name is Sinke, huh? I didn't. You know, when I was reading that, I didn't realize that you were saying that. So Zet Chrono up in here. Aged urine kills bed bugs, alive and awake. I would probably assume so. I don't see why I wouldn't. I wouldn't go that route of putting aged urine on my bed, because I think you're just gonna smell like aged piss, smell like ammonia. I would use if you really had bed bugs or something, I would use what is this stuff called? Diatomaceous earth. Yeah, do you know DE, diatomaceous earth? That is good for bed bugs. That's good for skin disorders for dogs, for humans. It's good for internal problems too. I wouldn't overuse it. Highly effective stuff. Borax. It's funny, Amanda Mallet. I just bought some borax the other day, and what I was reading is that if you mix borax with water, that it turns into distilled water. This blew my mind. I got to do some more research on it, so I'm not going to put that out there as if that's fact, because I haven't tried it yet, and I didn't do any more research. But I just read a couple. I just read a couple websites and said adding distilled borax to distilled water produces hydrogen peroxide, which I thought was like, holy shit, for real? So I'm gonna have to see what's going on with that. It would make sense because they both have pretty much the same effect on the body as far as cleansing. Like, you can't use a lot of hydrogen peroxide because you'll over oxygenate the body and hurt yourself. Brands and concentration, yes. So centration or centration would be smell-tration, or sen would be sin, like S-I-N-E, or sine, like a sine wave. And it also could mean cent, as in money, like a cent. But again, money does have a scent to it, so there's a connection to the money and smelling, and why something would be called sense. It's part of your senses. Alive and awake, still got the scabies. Well, I'm gonna. I had so many weird things happen recently. Today is a terribly hilarious day because I went to this place to buy some wine. I was like, okay, I'll buy little bottles of wine. You know, go out and have a day about it. And I really don't like sweet wine. In fact, I don't like it at all, especially a cheap sweet wine. I would never buy it. It'd be. I'm very. Whenever I'm buying something, I'm looking at it. I know what I'm doing. I think it's like I know what I'm getting. I'm not gonna make a mistake here. So I go in the store and I go buy a couple little bottles of wine, and I'm certain that they're Pinot Grigios. I'm certain of it. So I pick up 3 of them. And I go outside and I start drinking. I was like, why is this shit so sweet? Look at it, it says sweet Riesling on it, and I look at the other 2 bottles and it's both sweet Riesling. I was like, there's no way. I literally just went and purchased these. I looked right at them. I know the store. And I know what's in there. I've never even seen the word sweet and Riesling together before, because Riesling is already sweet. It's almost like a Moscato. I know about wine, and I literally I like who's playing. Like there's like I like the interdimensional shifting of the humor, the joke, the jokesters from the other realms. Just stopped me and just took my bag and replaced with some wine I didn't really want. I don't doubt that shit happens. You know, the little jokesters that like they're just playing little tricks, and no harm. They're just little tricks. Like that's like there's no harm, but I don't want that wine at all. I don't even want to drink it. It's disgusting. But I do have this amazing beer, and if you guys have never had this, Pabst. So now you're like, everybody's had a PBR. No, it's an APA. It's an American Pale Ale. This shit right here is one of the best American Pale Ales I've ever had, and it's under $2. Unbeatable. I've drank enough beer through the years, and APAs are where it's at. You want dry hop, tail end hop. You want like low, like you don't want them IPAs. You don't want those 30 or 60 minute hop bullshits. It's fucking fantastic. It's really, really well done. So, if you guys can find it, go find yourself some Pabst APA. American Pale Ale. Yeah, Alive and Awake. Cool, have you watched any of my earlier videos on anxiety, depression, and things? Check those out. I made one a couple days ago on a recipe for anxiety and things. And if you wanted specific help with any of that, I can give you a recipe for yourself depending on what you're anxious about and things like that. We can kind of work with that. I can tell you what kind of plants to buy, what kind of herbs to ingest. And yeah, you can't. There's no way to suppress thoughts. You just have to allow for them. You just watch them pass. If you allow them to pass by, they'll stop getting stuck in there. You know. And sometimes the way to get rid of it is to jog. Sometimes it's to take a nap. Sometimes cooking. Sometimes what's your hobby? What's something new? Try something brand new that you don't normally do. I don't know. Find herbs. Find something. You know, find something that's creative, an outlet. Or go into a deep meditation. Go find yourself a guru. I don't know. Yeah, the scabies, I thought they were joking about it, but if you're not, yeah, vodka and baking soda is good. Lemon juice is always going to be up there. 23 years of suppression and only 10 days of letting go. Yeah, there's going to be a build up there. 10 days, well, that's good. 10 days, it's awesome. Fuck it. 10 days is 10 days longer than a lot of people, you know? You got to think of it like a slingshot, though. And think of it like energy. If you've got 23 years of buildup, you can use that buildup of energy, because that is energy, thoughts and ideas, and it's tension. That tension can be used constructively. Remember that. Like, a lot of people, they end up, like, snapping and fucking going haywire and shooting up a fucking whatever, you know what I mean? Like, what do they used to say? Go postal. These people used to go postal or whatever. But that same type of energy can be used for something constructive and something beneficial. So just know that just because you held on to those thoughts and ideas, you didn't feel like having this little jab fest with somebody, you know, like every day. So you withheld that thing. Now you have like a lot of strength built up mentally. And you can use that for something. Remember that. You don't look at it as like you're carrying a weight or a burden. You should think of it, if you've carried a weight for that long, you have strong muscles. I hope you understand that idea. Yeah. What's up, Cephal? I was outside cloud busting, the sun got really bright, and then they came and sprayed. Can you influence the sun? I don't see why not. I assume it would be more difficult task, but I don't think, I'll say it this way. Let me phrase this properly. I don't think you get to influence the sun, but I think because it's a portal, I think the sun is just a portal to somewhere else or something. Just as I think the stars are too. You can move where the stars are, I suppose. I don't see why not. I mean, how would you know that they're all in the same spot? Yeah, we got some people telling us they're all, we got the major ones that are in the same spots, but are they? It would take a long time to map all that shit out and to keep track of it every day. You need to be. So yeah, I think you can move it. I think it'd brighten the sun. Why not? And what if it's only brighter for you? Well, who cares? It's your sun. Brighten it up. So I think you can influence in the amount of energy going in or coming out of it. I think that's one thing you can do. I think that's a reason for. You can't look at it as you. How to put it the right way? I want to rephrase this even a second time. There's a lot of things that you can move out here. You can move things telekinetically, using telekinesis, telepathy, all of those things, right? You can move the air and the wind, but I think the sun is less swayed, if not swayed at all. You might be able to just influence the energy coming in or out of it. I think that'd be about the size of it. If that, hopefully that would be part of your meditation on trying to work with the sun. I think you work with the sun. I don't think you manipulate it. I don't think you can, because I don't even think the sun is in this realm per se. I don't think so. I think it comes from somewhere else and it's portal through here, just like all the stars are. Yeah, you might be able to. I mean, shit. If you can do it in your dreams and you believe this is a dream, why couldn't you do it here? I've seen 4 moons in a dream. I've seen multiple suns in a dream. I've seen different color sun. I've seen, even in my waking hours, I've seen the sun pretty bigger than it should be. There's no way it's that big right now. Oh man, and tell me more about this. That's awesome. People tell me about this shit all the time. They're like, yo, I seen you in a dream and you started talking to me and told me all this shit. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Because sometimes there are times that I'm doing these things, but because I do so much in the dream world too, it's hard for me to bring back memory of all of it. So if when you wake up, what did I do last night? Damn it, the dream was so that you were so in the dream and you knew everything was going on. You were you could read a license plate and all this information. You're as soon as I wake up, and you wake up and all of a sudden just new systems start up and the whole thing that memory that you had of that dream just vanishes. Sometimes you can bring those through, and those are the times you go, yep, I remember that. But other times I have to have people tell me dude, you fucking showed me a portal. Pointed church window that was on the floor sideways. Yeah, alive and awake. Yeah, the storehouses of the chakras or the organs. Yes. I mean that gets, Qigong is the essence of the New Age terminology of energy follows focus. Energy goes where attention flows, or energy flows where attention goes. That's really all Qigong is being so aware of your finger right there, putting all of the energy into this finger, that this is all there is. That's, if you think of it if you think of a dispensing of energy, people that are nail biters and things, they have energy coming out of their fingers. Chicks always twisting their hair. They have thoughts, and they want to say something, or they're thinking something, they want to say something, but they just twist their hair. They bite their fingernails because they have energy. They want to touch something, want to do something. There's all sorts of things that people do that are qigong, but they're unaware that they're even doing it. Now, if that instead of biting the nails, they could just stand there and they sit there and just focus on their fingers and feel the energy charge up in their fingers, they could probably do a lot with that. There are chicks out there that could probably do a lot with their fingers. Like, find chicks that nail bite, and if they could learn to control that, the amount of energy they'd hold in their hand would be pretty intense. They probably have a less awareness over the rest of their body, and you probably note that if they're very much nail biters, there'll be different parts of their system that will be not cared for. If we say that, like maybe they wear shoes that are stupid because they're not too pay attention to their feet. Maybe they wear pants that don't fit or don't look right. They're not looking, but they have power in their hands. And then you have other people that, you know, that they're good artists or whatever, and you see different. You'll start to break things down, and well, not break them down, but you'll start to notice different energies in people's bodies and how they hold them, where they hold them. Life is it's your dream, buddy. It's your dream. I mean, I like the idea, but there's also, if you get to the point of saying this is only my dream and nobody else is dreaming this, then you become very isolated, and also you have to have that ability. You have to go, no, there's others of us out here, and then you kind of interact and interchange energies within dreams, and you live inside of a larger dream together that is more fruitful and bountiful for people. Yeah. how to manage your dreams 101. I'll write that book with somebody. If somebody wants to help me write a book, how to manage your dreams, it'll be like write it for people that are very left-brained. Well, thank you, Fire Drake. Yoga Sculpt got canceled. Cephal, I like that. Your thoughts are like crystals, and being still is like quartz. I like that. I like the idea. Are you serious, yo? Cephal of Earth. You said you seen me in a dream and you're with your uncle, and now he just learned about DMT, like in the real world he learned about it. That's very funny. Somebody was asking me about it the other day. That's crazy. Yeah, the sulfur soap, or sulfur soap, or charcoal soap. Charcoal is going to be good for that. Yeah, frantic mind, shallow breathing. What's up, Will Brooks? Oh man, I mean, there's all sorts of little idiosyncrasies we all have. You can't be ashamed of that. See, don't be ashamed of that. It's just next time you look at your nails, just like, oh, like maybe start painting your nails, and when you paint your nails, write something on them. I don't know. That could be like an art project, and also like a dream enhancer. You know, I put this on me, so it would start to trigger me during my daytime to look down this and say, am I dreaming? What's going on here? And then in my dreams, I would start asking that. Well, if you start painting your fingernails with something on them that is more than just, let's just do red paint today, but let's just do something, you know, with maybe a writing or maybe a symbol or something. And you'll start looking at your fingers in a different way. Maybe put sigils on each one of your fingers. That would be super excellent. And it would be magical and powerful too. That you could use your fingers that you see, repurpose something that you think is a negative, biting your nails, turning into positive. You look at your nails, huh? Now it reminds you, and then you start to channel that energy out of the fingers and maybe you could channel it back into your body. You could put it into your, you could take the energy out of your fingers and put it into your dantian. You could put it into your head. Maybe you got thinking to do. Maybe you need to, maybe you're walking. Maybe you're clumsy when you walk. You put it in your feet. I'll be very aware of your feet. Like right now, I'm thinking about my feet on the ground. Or you could place that energy somewhere else. The burnt motor oil, I don't know anything about. You got Axe. You got Axe Junipers about that. But I guess that would have to do, I guess burnt motor oil would have to do with the carbon in it, I'm guessing. So that carbon and as I was saying, the charcoal is, carbon. There you go. Life is a meditation. Leg shakers. People that shake their legs all the time. That's a very antsy thing to do about like maybe just not wanting to sit there. That's a lot of energy at the lower chakra. Yeah, that would be kind of connected to your base chakra. It seems. Maybe you should run, jog. Maybe it's but it's hard to tell without knowing the person. Is it starting here because they have a lot of mental anxiety, or just they're energetic? Because some people have anxiety, and some people are just energetic and they want to go do something. Some people are just like, I want to go run. I want to go play sports. I want to. So it depends on that. But the leg is, think of that, like your fingers are expression points of energy. So if you're biting your nails or something there, and your legs are a strength and a foundational part of your body and energy. That'd be your two towers, your Joachim and Boaz, two pillars. And so those are storing a lot of energy. And also there could be, that could go a lot of ways. That could be something posturally. Maybe it's getting clogged somewhere in his legs. I don't know. These things, I have to meet the person to. Shuffle, that's so funny. Yeah, unbalanced energy, that's like, a lot of people try to balance things in a mental frame. I gotta balance my work-life balance, or I gotta balance this. And like a lot of it's just really balanced physically too. But we also have to balance, not only do we have to balance this way, you have to cross, you've got to balance it up and down and side to side. And so that balance is multifaceted. Yeah, grounding out is one of the big, there you go. A lot of that is trapped energy, and that could be, that's fire eject. That's the simple answers. Take the shoes off, put your feet on the earth. That's gonna, like, I know that if I've not taken my shoes off and put my feet on the earth in a couple days, when I go and do it, as soon as I do, I'm implored, to take a deep breath. And as I do, my body decompresses, and I can feel the tense and energy go out of me. And I get the tingles, and that happens like almost immediately. Somebody else, they might need to breathe a little more. Like if you've never, like somebody's like, dude, go outside, take your shoes off, put it on the ground. You'd have to walk them through breathing, but they'd probably get some spine chills out of it if they breathe it all out. Go through that process. And a lot of people, I've said this time and time again, and I'll just rephrase it. I'll just jump into it again here. If you live in New York City, or you live in any major city, there's people that have never, ever in their entire life taken their shoes off and put them on earth. Never. Think about it. Even in normal cities. There's sidewalks, there's concrete, there's asphalt, there's your car, there's your house. Especially if you live in the city, you ain't got no grass in the backyard, and would you go in the backyard? So you got most people in your house, you might take your shoes off. You still ain't grounded. You walk outside, got shoes on. Where are you taking shoes off? Some people live their whole life never even grounded themselves, never even touched the earth. Have no idea. Have no idea what grass or mud or shit feels like on their feet. So that's vital. That's vital. That's vital nourishment. To imagine how much people would balance out if they went to the park and really took their shoes off. A lot of people that are real stressed out and shit, that alone, you know, it's not, that's as much of a panacea as you could give that person. Because even that will help to, because a lot of their erratic thoughts that they'll have about their job and life and this and that, because they're ground out, it's actually removing all of the positive charges in the body. And then all of a sudden their mind will become clearer and more balanced. Or go to the ocean, jump in the water too. What's up, Unstance? What's up? Hey, Cephal, if you do that, come visit. Come see if you can knock on my door. You know, like see if you can pull me out of my body or something. That's funny. Yeah, Junipers, I did, and I also, I painted my nails for the next couple months, many different colors. I liked when I found this really nice gray color that I rocked for a while. Yeah, the gray is pretty cool because it's a nice, it's manly enough. It's not demanding. It's not like black. It's not like I'm fucking out here doing fucking black magic everywhere. I know people would ask me, never in person. No one would ever ask me about my fingernails in person, but on here people would be like, why are your nails painted? Is that something? Is that like nah, I just fucking like to paint my nails. I don't fucking know. But I haven't done that in a while. I don't know. I think because I was, I don't know. Just kind of gave that up for a little bit. Maybe that's a new. I got a couple weeks here before the New Year's. It's gonna be cold out. I'll be inside. I'll do a little art on my fingernails. D-Man, I'm gonna link this back to, you said it's anxiety and hunched over. Is it hunched over because his job is at a desk? He's always lurched forward. Is that what you're saying? And is he? And is this connected to you were saying leg shaking or which part? I'm trying to connect that. And you said it's anxiety and it's connected to being hunched over. Is he extremely out of shape? Is his life very sedentary? Or is there any movement? You know, does he move at all around? And then, I mean, I can try to help you with this and decipher that and help him out somehow, but you probably have to hit me up one-on-one and I'll dig in a little deeper if you wanted some clues. There you go, Fire Jake. That's what I'm talking about, man. Sigils on the fingernails. If you could get like little, if anybody here is good with a X-Acto knife, you could cut out some X-Acto knife things and put them on your nails and like paint them out, you know. That'd be pretty slick. And you could probably print them out. You could probably make a little business out of it for real. You know, draw it out and then have it have the stickers where you can kind of peel the stickers off and then paint and then pull the sticker off. You know what I'm saying? That'd be a nice little thing, man. Do some like common sigils, common symbols. I dig it. Yeah, habits aren't bad. You know, habits are only. It's kind of like people that gamble. You look at everybody's like, oh, he gambles and he makes all this money. It's amazing. But if you lose, you have a problem. If you win, you ain't got a problem, right? Everybody's like, oh, does somebody have a gambling addiction? Or somebody got a gambling problem? Like, no, it's only a problem if you fucking suck at it and you lose. That's everything in life. So it's just a matter of realizing, is the thing that you're habitually doing, habitually is another keyword to meditation or to, it's the same thing. I mean, just What as a let me grab my charger here real quick so I can continue on here for you guys. Yeah, so it's just a matter of is it effective and helpful to you in any way? Most things that people do that are habits, most of them are just they're non-virtues, they're non-essentials. Meaning they're not doing bad and they're not doing good. Like essentially biting your nails isn't really doing anything bad and it's not really doing anything good. It's just energy that's taking up space and time that it could be focused and used to be doing something else. Most people's habits are very low risk, low reward. Let's put it that way. Most people don't have horrendous habits of ridiculous shit. Like most people's habits are pretty just borderline. Like, well, you know, it's like that. It's non-consequential. It's of little regard. But if you took those things that you know are habits and able to like, oh, here's an extra, here's 20 minutes during the day that I didn't know that I had habitually doing this one thing, right? That you could turn that 20 minutes into something, well, either neutral or powerful. Yeah, and what the fingers represent, Syphil. Yeah, you want to go reflexology, but then you also want to look into, say, Ayurveda, and then you'd want to look into, so there's going to be different schools of thoughts on what each of these fingers mean, what planets they're associated with, and what metals work with them. They're pretty unanimous on a couple of them, but then there's some that are a little, like some cultures don't count the thumb as a finger, and so we don't think of finger rings, and we think of this as neutral, and other times this is positive or negative. So and then you've got your obviously Saturnian ring finger. You know, if you're getting married, you put the ring of Saturn on the Saturnian ring, which is connected to that. And then each finger is connected to a planet, right? So yeah, just make sure you research a couple different cultures and find whatever you feel comfortable with. There'll be some that are standard, like that's pretty much what it is. But then some has been a little hijacked. And if you want to, I can maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, at least it'll be in my back burner of things that I should do a video for you guys on. Or maybe I'll do something on the hands and the fingers and reflexology and the holographic body, the holographic system. Maybe I'll do like a redub on Master of Earth's work, because he did one on the holographic body that was really excellent, and there's some additions I could put in there and some simplified ideas that I could put in there too. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll start revisiting old work of mine and other people's and just re-editing it and making it more precise. Juniperus, you get the spine chills too? It's like after a good dump, you know? Take a good fucking dump and get them spine chills. That's what's up right there. Yeah, your body is a tool of divination. I try to, that's why a while back I was talking to somebody about sigils, and I'm like, my body, I actually, you know what, I made a video, it's called Your Body is a Living Sigil. You should check that one out. If anybody here has not seen that, feel free to check that out. I don't remember what I said in that, but I'm sure it had something to do with the body as a living, walking sigil. Yeah, the imagining the roots is a good one. People that get on airplanes that are well versed in it, they imagine that their feet are still connected to the ground. Yeah, muscle testing is good stuff. Ain't that funny, D-Man? You're in a cold climate and you take your shoes off. Yes, and you take your shoes off in the house. And they're in California and leave their shoes on in the house. What a weird thing, man. I'm thinking about that when I grew up. What my house policy was on shoes in the house. I've always pretty much been a shoes off in the house kind of person. But I've been in people's houses that didn't have that. And I think there's a socioeconomic thing there as well. And let me not get into socioeconomics right now and get all wild, people all wild up on that shit. But basically the poorer my friends, the more apt it was that they were wearing shoes in the house for many reasons. I mean, I lived in a cold climate too. They were not putting the heat up. It cost too much. You're cold, put a jacket on. It would be like I would hang out with cats that like in the winter, like you're in their house, you're wearing a jacket still. You know what I mean? So there's that, and like how their house is put together, and would you want to take your shoes off there? So there's that. I think you know, and if you think of rich people, very rich, you're just keeping your shoes on because their floors are going to be different, and there's going to be, you know, you're going to drive there and you're going to have your nice shoes on and you're going to clean your feet off, and there's a foyer, an entryway, and you've got all of these other things that go into it. So, but I do find that very interesting as a general thing. That's funny, D-Man, you just made me think of this time that I went up to Canada. I'll tell this story another time, but it was a time I took my shoes off at somebody's house and my feet fucking stunk. It was fucking terrible. It was fucking terrible. This was years ago, man. I'm just revisiting the story in my head now, how fucking funny it was. Life is a meditation. That's awesome. Yeah, the stopping of thoughts is interesting because it kind of finds that, what do they call it? It's hyperposition or superposition in between off and on. It's like it's a sort of kind of apathy, but not really. Like having apathetic towards thoughts, and it's a healthy thing in a way, like where you just go, it's just thoughts. I don't really care. But then who is the I that doesn't care? And then you go through this. That's one of the first hurdles to get through until you get to go. Okay. You got to have this supreme sense of Keanu Reeves being Keanu Reeves. Oh shit. Hey, if this shuts off, I'm gonna start another video for you guys if you want me to come back, because my charger is. Let's see. All right, well, I'll tell you this much, y'all. You guys have minimal time with me, because I don't have any more chargers. I'm about to go in and plug my phone in. Just don't fucking suck at it is right. Yeah. But you know what? The road to wisdom is there's perils and pitfalls everywhere, and there's all sorts of what do they say? They say a fool in his folly will become wise. So I like that. No matter what we're doing, there is some sort of wisdom to be gained. I don't like the idea that mistakes make you better or something, or that like every time you fail is it's not a failure, just, you know, it's all up to that point of success. I don't like that idea, because I think there's a differentiation between like what do you consider success and what do you consider failure. But I do like the idea that whatever you're doing it's all leading to the same place, whatever that is, higher consciousness, death, if somebody wants to call it that, just wherever you're going. I don't know. Like how many times you just like, whoops, fucking said something stupid there. Whoops, fuck that one up. Yeah, the bodhisattvas, bodhisattva, they have their eyes half open. Yeah, I think because they probably stoned. But yeah, I get you, because it's like a calm, easy gaze that they're looking in multiple spaces at the same time. My mind is still in there. Judging yourself for judging, ain't that the worst, huh? It's like whenever you're like really mad at yourself, or like, how did I do that? What did I do? How did you end up? Why did you trip on that? Why'd you say that? Why'd you fucking do that thing? And then you're like talking to yourself in third person, and then you're like, it's very fucking funny. It's like, well, c'est la vie. No shoes in the Zendo. Ah, D-Man, the shoe thing is very interesting, yeah. Fire trick. I take my shoes off before I crescent kick people in the face. Just as a courtesy to your skull. Life is a meditation. You cannot not see everything as the self now. I enjoy that sometimes, and sometimes it's horrifying, you know, in the sense of like, when it's said that everything that occurs is only because of you, then yeah, it becomes in one sense like I'm responsible for you, and you alone are responsible for everything. It becomes like a burden, and then in another sense it becomes very relieving, because you're like, well, I'm not going to judge myself. There's nothing, I can't do anything wrong. And there's another thing that goes, well, it's fucking lonely out here if everyone is just me. So there is the removal of the ego to see things is a great idea, but to remove it fully is not a great idea. And because nobody out here is egoless. The ego death didn't occur. People that say they killed their ego, I call bullshit 100% of the time. Because they're maybe they're using the wrong word. Maybe that's what it is. But if your ego died, you'd just be sitting here drooling all over the place, doing nothing. You'd have no input and no export of information. There'd be nothing. Everything would be, you'd be in an infinite abyss of nothingness. So the ego is very important, and it's there for a reason. You weren't installed with it if it didn't have its purpose, and its purpose is to be used in a proper way, you know. So, and I'm you know, as I like to go off on little tangents about things. So yeah, but everything is self. I get it, man. Yeah, everything is self, and you're creating this ripple or puddle, you know, in this pond, and we're all putting stones in it, and it's all of the concentric circles are meeting and hitting each other. Like, yeah, but for it to actually be fun, you have to think that everybody else is their own living, conscious, thoughtful entity, or else it becomes, you get into that, I think it's called the Jerusalem syndrome, or that I am God and everything else is just like, yeah, that becomes a little, yeah. Dinosaur, what's up, man? And I love the word mites, because I think they're connected to people that go, might, like they're always kind of unsure. Those are the case of the mites. Justin saying, thank you for that great quote. Before you can be old and wise, you have to be young and stupid. This is correct. It's like to equally be wise and to be, you know, interchangeably at the same exact moment in time, to be as curious as a cat or as a baby, as infinitely like, oh, the awe of it all, and then also to maintain a sort of a self-identification and knowledge base and wisdom that you already have. Like that's the place that people need to be. People are like, oh no, just be like a child. Then you put people back into in no sense. Like you don't want to be in no sense. You want to have sense. You want to have a lot of senses, but it's choosing and adjusting properly to which ones to use. And so you just have to turn some senses on and some of them off, you know. And that's that place of having some sort of wisdom of, well, which senses am I working with today? Alive and awake. You got a job because you took your shoes off in the owner's house. Good move. Good move. I wonder. You can fill me in if you want. What kind of job was it? Something ridiculous? Because it would be funny if it was just. Was it out of because you showed respect, or was it because you were like meditative and thoughtful, or was it like it was so weird because you were trying to apply for a job to be a sous chef at a fancy restaurant? Or you're gonna work in someone's lumber yard? You're working in a lumber yard, and you go have an interview at someone's house. I mean, I could divulge from that if I played with it a little bit, but. John Shore, how you been, man? You always got the lowdown for people on how to stay cleansed. What do you do when you're not? Because I know you always come through with the good info on cleansing. What do you do when you're doing the antithesis, or just the, you know, out there fucking around? Do you have like? Do you stay like on a regimen of like every week you're gonna cleanse on Saturday, like today is the day of the Lord or whatever? Do you do that? Because the MMS, I couldn't ever imagine cleaning every surface that I touched every day with MMS. No way. I think that would get, for me, that would turn my brain into insanity mode, and it would turn, that OCD would be over kicking in overdrive for me. It'd be like going to the hospital and people get the staph infection because they try to keep it so clean. I think there needs, you know, I think there's different kinds of dirty, you know? Life is a meditation. I like that. You can always hear the self and never know the self. Like, yeah, you can never see what your eyeballs look like. You can never see your own eyes. You can never smell your own nose. You can never... You know, that kind of thing. Don't drop. Hey, D-Man, and don't drop the ball. I like that. Yeah, I already threw the ball on the ground with everything else. Smashed that shit. It's so funny too, because I went out and played basketball the other day. I haven't played in a while, and I was like, I was pretty good at this. So I'm ordering myself some shoes and a basketball, because I'm gonna get back out there and play a little bit. Because I used to play a lot, and then I just kind of got too involved in being wise and funny and too much women and wine. You know what I mean? But I like that. Don't drop the ball is an interesting one. All of these this is what we always talk about. These mundane, kind of weird things that people say. Look, well, let's just turn a phrase. It's just what people say. It came from somewhere, and it's for good reason. It's for a reason. Maybe not a good one, but it is to instill something. Alive and awake, wicked. Yeah, that's interesting. That's what I was gonna assume was gonna be something really weird, like outside job. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, John Shore, thank you for making that. Okay, I didn't realize that. I thought you were just saying that like this is what I do every day. I was like, oh shit, John, wilding out. Is he okay? Did he take too much? Okay, cool. Yeah, Amanda, the mud floods is what's up. I can't speak enough about that stuff, even though I haven't made a lot of videos on it, because I don't want to turn my channel into that, because I'm not going to do as much research as everybody else is doing on it, and I'm not going to make as good of videos. So I kind of avoid it for that reason. But I, you know, because I watch their shit and I'm like, yep, this is already, I know what you're saying, I see where this is going, and I'd rather just make videos here and there and point people at their channels, because they're doing awesome digging up of very, very, to me, as I've said before, and I'll say it again, mud floods is as big, if not bigger, of an idea. When I say idea, just the thought game of the Earth being a ball or being flat. And it's for this one reason that it's bigger, is because we really still can't prove that it's flat or that it's a ball. We can't really prove it. There's always going to be a little bit of curiosity, a little doubt. You know, if we're inside of a spaceship, we could be on a big spaceship right now, and you wouldn't feel the spin. We could be, you know, the spaceship could be flying. We could be sitting here in a gyrosphere inside of it. You know, there's a lot of things. And okay, I get it with all the, I get it's fucking flat. We live in a flat realm. I get it. But what I'm saying is what's even more absurd is the mud flood stuff. Like, once you start looking around, it's so very, very in your face and obvious. If you live in any city, that you'll go and see things that were certainly, absolutely, if you have any idea whatsoever about how to build a house at all, you would never, this was definitely flooded. This was a mud flood. And then you start putting the, everything that was going on in the late 1800s, early 1900s, with all of these different, they had an expo in every city. What happened to all these expos with this futuristic technology? But we're sitting here with, you know, back in the 80s, we didn't have too much, 1980s, we didn't have too much future technology. Back in the 1900s, they had expos with the craziest shit in it. And then all of a sudden you see all these buildings that there's like 20 floors beneath ground, and this looks, so there's just so much, there's so much obvious, it's so obvious that to me is so outstanding. Like, it's, you could keep the shape of the Earth hidden, certainly, because there's no way of verifying it. You don't have a jet plane to fly up there to look down to see what it is, so it's pretty much unknowable. It's pretty certain it's flat. It's pretty, well, I'm pretty sure. I'd put, if I had 100 chips, I'd put 99 of them on it's flat, you know. But with the mud flood shit, like, you can look right at it. You can see it. You can, there it is. And then say, okay, only 100 and some years ago, somehow something got adjusted in the way that we were fed information, adjusted in the books. Some were burnt, some were buried, some were, are they held in libraries now? Are they just in the weird sections in the libraries? Do they still exist, but just nobody, or people are reading these books, but they thought they were all about, they were all fiction books? I've thought that quite a number of times. Is there a lot of nonfiction, or a lot of fiction books that are actually fact and fiction? You know, what if they were, and they just put them in a different section? Nobody believes it. Oh, and that's just fantasy, just fantasy. So did they not really burn all the books, but they just changed it to nonfiction, or turn it to fiction titles? I would say that. I would start to look a lot harder, look at these libraries. And then obviously it's very easy to, I've explained this to people, and you're working on the internet right now. There could be 5 million different layers to the same exact internet you're working with. Somebody could have there could be a system that says World Wide Web here's the web page and here's this. And then there's also a system right underneath that is the same exact link, the same everything. But somebody pushes a button and you're actually on World Wide Web 2. Not really number 2, but just another version of it. And there could be 5 million versions of that stacked on top of each other. That any day somebody just pushes a button, now all of a sudden everything within the internet changes. So then everybody starts talking about these Berenstain Bears. Everybody starts about the mandala effect. Now it could be manipulated through technology to a very high degree. Obviously, it can be manipulated from what we would know as magic. It could be manipulated through suggestion, just through training. There's a lot of ways, but it is quite an interesting to think about. Like, holy shit, not but 4 generations ago, 4 or 5 generations ago, there was some wild ass shit with people moving all over the world, getting in ships going over here, children coming over from here, kids going over here, Masons from over here. I mean, we gotta understand there's Masons and Freemasons and clubs and societies everywhere. And if you ain't in them, how you know they don't already know? And even if you're in them, who holds the knowledge? Who's gonna tell you that? Who's gonna just be like privy you to the knowledge? Yeah, actually, in 1867, there was a flood that occurred, and here's how it happened. Who's gonna reveal that? Why? So, I think the mud floods are and I mean, because that leads into as I'll do it again here, the star forts. When you look at the star forts, and people are like, oh, they're making star forts for wars. No, they might have been helpful in a war, but that wasn't the point of them. It's very obvious to see by their design and construction of how obscenely awesome they were that they're going to build that just for a war. No, that'd be the dumbest way to build something. It would be the silliest. It would be the dumbest. You would build a circle. That would be the easiest way. That would be the easiest. Then you just build all this with a snowflake and with all these intersecting blah blah. You know, like, no, that doesn't make any sense unless it was energy harvesting, energy inspiring. Like it was capable of capturing and expressing energy within a system. I mean, there's a reason that snowflakes fall the way they fall. You know, there's energies, and there's sound waves, there's the way molecules of water hold themselves together. Like, so these star forts, like, designed basically off of snowflakes, and then you got mud floods. Like, all that shit is just mad recent. John Shore, get rid of the mites, man. Make a goddamn decision, John Shore. I'm gonna tell it to you like this, John. There's a decision you need to make, and you have to stop saying maybe. You just gotta say yes or no. You just gotta make the decision, and you'll get rid of your mites. I'm telling you, John. You know I ain't kidding. Fire Jake, utilize the cold people. You may need to be getting used to it sometimes. The cold people. I know about the cold climates, man. I've been up in the cold. Yeah, there's an interesting thing between the cold and the hot climates, and even what that has to do with the mud floods too, which we'll dip into. I don't want to do it right now because I got like 5% on this. I don't know how much juice I have in this, so I don't want to dig into all that right now, man. But the idea is that maybe there was a time not too long ago where the climate was not what we see now. I mean, who's to say that the rhythm and the flux of the sun and the moon stayed the same? What if it changed? So somebody asked earlier if you could adjust the moon or the sun, or adjust the sun. What if it was a vibrational occurrence? So what if all of the realms, meaning the internal Aryan realm, then where we are in Atlantis, and then the one outside of that, which would be Lemuria, and the one outside of that, which would be Hyperborea. So you got those 4 realms. What if within each of those realms there was a vibration occurrence that occurred that changed the rhythm and the pace of the sun and the moon? So what you think is 24 hours in a day, maybe it was 80 hours 100 years ago. Maybe it was what you would consider 80 hours, but you don't have any way of knowing how long 80 hours is other than looking at the sun and the moon, right? But now we go, no, it says 80 hours on my digital watch. What was that watch? I mean, why was that watch calculating it? Quartz crystal in there? Or what if the quartz crystal started changing speeds? So now 20 hours was 100 hours 2 years ago. How would you know? You could, that's the whole Einstein thing where he says relativity theory. And I think, from all of his faulty math and bullshit, that's one thing that does hold absolute certainty, is there is the idea of relativity. well, holding a hot ball of hot coal in your hand for a second, it feels like an eternity, but for hanging out with your best friend for 2 hours feels like a second, you know? So there's that relative value of time even in that. The fungus, this is right. Yeah, the cold people, man, I think what needs to occur for them, I think the betterment of this world occurs when people unanimously decide to come back to the tropics and the equator, the Ecuadorian tropics. I don't think humans are supposed to be living outside of those realms. If you like it, you know what I mean, enjoy it. But I think that the actual living humans, I don't think we're supposed to have winter, not the way that we perceive it. Again, ice is a very unnatural occurrence, and you can observe that by going there are people that live near the equator that have never seen frozen water, because it's not a natural occurrence. It has to be. When I say not natural, what I'm saying is it's in their nature. They're not drinking a martini with shaken with rocks. That's only happened recently that they learned how to make ice cubes. But that ice cubes, again, to produce those, you have to have a heating element in the back, which is spitting out all the hot. So it's the point is the idea of ice and cold, and I think it's nice to have, and it's nice to have a cold drink, and it's nice to have cold showers, and it's nice to have cold running water, and all of this is great. But I think where we're supposed to live, I think too many people have gotten outside of the bounds of where life is supposed to be lived, and I think it's supposed to be between the tropics. I think that's what it is. I think we went well far outside of that. I don't know how that occurred. You know, that's a larger debate, dialogue that I've gone over a few other times about what were the first people, you know, who were the first people here, what was coming over the ice wall, was it Aryans, was it Lemurians, was it different species, was it giants, was it, you know, these are a lot of things, but we can notice a certain thing happens when you live closer to the equator. You get more carbonated or more melanated, depending on what word you want to use. You get more sun. That sun is the energy that grows all things. There's a whole different energy about that area of the world. So I think there's something interesting about how it is that people live in colder climates. Nothing seems sensible to me that I need to go and put a bunch of different layers on me to go out into the outside. It doesn't make sense to me. At the end of the day, like as just if I'm just a cell, I'm like, well, wasn't I built perfect as a cell? Where does a cell live? Well, near the sun. But you know, you can go out there. I get it. You'd probably learn to survive and learn to live like that. And obviously, some people can, like Wim Hof and all this. But it does appear that as the human species, as we're all humans, I think the closer to the sun we are, the better off. John Shore, did I say that? Yeah. Hey John Shore, how you doing with the mites, man? Yeah, D-Man, you said women and wine took you from hockey. Yeah, well, you took you from slapping elephant turds around, or horse turds, huh? Hockey, man. I played some hockey a couple times. I got hit in the face with a puck and a stick. And it was like I was playing driveway hockey with some people that actually were like hockey players, but I was good at sports. And hockey was fun doing running around with shoes on, but I couldn't skate to save my life. I felt nice a couple times, cracked my chin open. No good. But yeah, hockey, man. I could see I like the camaraderie of what hockey is, because it takes hockey is the most thing that is like a hockey, even more than football, is like a battle, you know what I mean? Like going in brothers in arms, that kind of shit, where you go to battle. Like, that's hockey, because you got to go through that whole I'm suiting up to go in this cold weather, put these pads on and all this shit. You got to wear much more padding, and hockey is much more aggressive even than football. Football is kind of planned out, blah blah blah, but they're both like war games and shit. It's very interesting how sports, which sports are connected to types of personalities and governmental styles, and there's some interesting shit there too. It reminds me of this German philosopher that I think he did a TED talk, and I don't know if it was a TED talk or I think it was just his talk, on toilets and in the different countries where like in certain places what you shit into was psychologically, you know, part of the culture. Like, they designed toilets, say in Germany, where there's a flat back where you shit on it and you observe your shit to see if anything's in it, because you're machine oriented. You know, this is why the Germans, they do perfected automobiles, blah blah blah, right? And then you have other cultures where, like, you know, you shit into the water and just flush it, and then you have other cultures where you see, so there's different cultures with different kinds of toilets, and it said something a lot about the psychology of the peoples that live there. What's up, Synchron? I don't have any groupies, man. I told you this, B. I haven't been laid in a long time. I don't go out at night, man. I go out at night. I was saying this the other day. I think that so I like to drink during the day, so I'm kind of too toasted to go out at night, because I know if I go out at night, I mean, I win. You know what I mean? Like, if I go out at night, it's fine. I'm gonna get laid. But everything that comes along with that, I got tired of, man. You know, you get a couple fucking funky, weird, bad experiences with that shit. I was just like, is it worth it? Is it worth it? I mean, sometimes I'm like, fuck, I need, like, let me go find myself a good girl. Let me go to church this Sunday. Let me go to the grocery store and start hitting on some chicks. Let me go to the library. Let me do it, you know. But I ain't got no groupies, man.
Jack.
John Shore, what are the best energetic sex books on males, females, and tantra? Man, the only thing I really know in that direction on tantra is your boy. What's his name now? Because I could see his face. The Montauk Chia. I mean, there's a few others that I've dipped through a little bit. Man, I'll dip into that study a little further for you.
All right. Is art not? They're not.
But I know a few really good elements you can put into your diet. As far as books, I haven't dug that deep into any more than Montauk Chia. And there's some others, I just can't think of the authors' names. Oh, dude, D-Man. I mean, I don't know which will be more difficult. You know what's funny is I think the grand population, it would be easier for them to understand the mud flood, because it's pretty easy to just look at it. Look at these. What would you, if you were a child, to think about this? I think it's easier for someone to digest that. Now, the second or third question would be like, well, where did the history books go? Why the lie? That's always what it goes to. That will be harder to swallow than hiding the earth being flat or being a ball. Like, there's a lot of really good answers to that, and a lot of obvious answers to that. But the mud flood, that would take a little bit more. You'd have to, because then you got to really play with, like, you'd have to really play with people's psychology a lot. Like people would have to know, crowd dynamics of psychology. You'd have to know personal philosophy. You'd have to understand religion. You'd have to understand so many things that go into it. To like, well, how could they possibly remove all the books, burn all this shit? How did they get rid of the knowledge? How does mind control work? You'd have to get into so many different subjects that it would be a, what are you gonna do? Like, observe it. There's mud floods. And then, just like most people, well, what do you want to do with that information? A lot of people say, so what am I supposed to do with it? Okay, the earth is flat, so fuck what? What am I do with it? Okay, so what? There was a mud flood. So what am I gonna do with it? I think that's the common answer. Even if people accept it as such, what are we supposed to do with it? And I don't know if I can give anybody that answer, because I don't think I have it myself. I think it's just like, I'd rather know that than not. Or would I? Or would I rather go back and take the blue pill and go back to fucking whatever? Yeah, but the mud flood, I think once people really dig into that, man, it's because you could just walk somebody down the street and show that to them. Amanda Millett, pilots have the highest rates of suicide. I think you're mistaken there, Amanda, and I'll tell you why. Because it's not pilots, it's the ones that work in air traffic control. I think that's the highest rate of suicide, because it's such a high intensity job, because they're in control of hundreds and hundreds of airplanes, stopping, landing. They're dealing with time in a very precise way. I think it's air traffic controllers is what you're looking for. I don't think pilots are. I would double check that. And what you'd have to know as a pilot, I don't think it goes through their head. I don't even think they even comprehend that they're flying over a flat surface. I don't think that it comes into their awareness. Even though I've known people that even were going to school to be, that's what they did. And a lot of their, they're at home, they got their computer, they got the thing, and they're taking off and they're playing with their computer. And I'm like, this is this game. He's like, no, this is actually like, this is paid for by the Aeronautical Society. Like, this is for me to get to pass my class. As I'm sitting here doing this counts as hours of me actually in an airplane, and it's all based upon flat. But I don't think that went through that person's head, and I don't think that ever does. Maybe later on, after they've been tenured, Oh shit, Oostens. Tell me more about that. Savan mentioned mud floods. I need to know about that. Please fill me in here, because as most people here know, I used to be on Savan's. I've said it and I'll say it again. I probably listened to as much, if not more, of his first 7 years of putting information out. Every time he would have a show, I was listening to it on his original couple websites. Even when he was doing thewords.ing, even when he was first coming out years ago, like, I was on his shit every time I had a chance, like multiple times a day. So, and then he said a couple things that I don't agree with, and he like the flat earth thing he dismissed, and the salt thing he dismissed, which put me like on a like I ain't got time to listen to him anymore, because I instinctually know that he's wrong about that, or maybe he's just saying it unclearly, but his not understanding the salt thing, and him just saying the earth isn't flat and just kind of laughing it off, that didn't sit right. But everything else, as I say, he's one of the fucking greatest teachers, one of the greatest teachers out there. It's funny because he's done shows with Santos Bonacci, but that was before Santos came out and said, no, this shit is flat, yo. So I can't wait to Savan to finally be like, no, it's flat, and salt ain't what you think it is. That's the day that I'll. Thank you, young one. But yeah, I'd love to hear what he has to say on mud floods. Alive and awake. I've never liked the $1 million button because I think you still ejaculate and ruin the semen. I think, you know, either keep it or get rid of it. You know, just collect it with everything. You know, maybe put it in the piss jar, man. I don't know. Didn't you ever hear about the ancients putting semen into a gourd and making a homunculus out of a gourd and semen? That's real shit right there. John Shore, you must be an amazing fuck, huh? John Shore is the master fucker. That's how I'm gonna call you. You MF, yo. 300 kegels a day? John Shore be putting the dick down. Yeah, the spinegasm in the brain is nice. It's so funny because sometimes I can do that with chicks, and sometimes, like, I don't know, it's weird. It's not weird. I mean, I get probably why it's happening. It's like depending on what level of emotional correspondence and how much I'm looking at them and what the goal is energetically. Sometimes I've been with chicks that it was just for the healing for that person, not for me. You know, I mean, other times the chicks would probably be slept with me to, like, help me. You know, fucking here's some throw a little pussy at this one here. You know, but. Sometimes, yeah, the braingasm is amazing. Yeah, John Shore is always on the prostate massage. I had a couple chicks try to. I was not a big fan of a finger in my butthole. I just couldn't dig it. I mean, I've played around, try to find the spot, but nah. Hey, I'll give it another shot, I'm sure, but but they call any kind of enema, anything that you have to hold, you know, get and start holding the pelvic floor muscle and all of this. That's gonna help. That's one of the major things that, you know, that I guess maybe I'll do a video on that for people. The unknown benefits of doing enemas. And I think that's a big one right there. Is it helps you hold different parts of your body that you would never consider holding. So you've got different. You're doing things with different organs and with different muscles that you normally wouldn't even play with. So yeah. Life is a meditation. Beer is making your guitar playing much better. Wish you could dodge the consequences and get away with it. What do you mean? What do you think the consequences are of drinking beer? Well, life is a meditation. I wonder, what do you mean the consequences? There's no consequences to playing a guitar or drinking beer. Life is a meditation. There's another one. The Stalking the Wild Pendulum by Istak Bentov. Check that one out. If you've never seen it, everybody else is Istak Bentov. ISTAKBENTOV. Istak Bentov. There you go. Stalking the Wild Pendulum. You're not looking for Stalking the Wild Asparagus. You're looking for Stalking the Wild Pendulum.
I got that.
Urine is the best hangover cure. Yep. Fruits and urine for sure. The Living Book. Ray Moore talks about it. I guess you're talking about... Yeah, Ray Moore is cool. He's that dude that did that video about doing a dry fast for 7 days, and then they stuck him with a needle. See, that really upset me a little bit because he let them do that, and because it discredited some things. But I couldn't tell if he was doing it for what reason. But if you understood what the needle was doing to take the blood, and you understood what the blood was, you wouldn't have let them do that. So once you're piercing so many levels, energetic levels, and then pulling the actual energy out of the body. No wonder he passed out. He passed out at like day 8, and he says, well, I don't like needles, they make me anxious. Well, yeah, there's that, and there's also literally, that's a like, does anybody get it? Like, it's a vampire. A vampire sucks your blood. So if you go to the hospital and they stick a needle in you and pull your blood, what are they doing? It's vampiric. They're taking your blood. They're like, we're going to take your blood. They say that to you. I'm going to do a whole video on this one too. They literally say, we're going to take your blood, okay? Okay. Okay, vampire, please have my blood. It doesn't make any sense. So whenever he did that, it really, I was like, man, you know, all of the time that went into him doing that and having at least people there being like, okay, he's actually dry fasting. And the way that they made it seem was like, you shouldn't do this, he's lucky, blah, 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 like, and then the over the top shit was the needle thing. And I was like, yeah, that cutting and editing was no good there. John, sure, I like that, man. That's good. Marriage is for life, replace it with my relationships are with love. That's awesome, man. That's a great way to look at it. Yeah, some people, yeah, alive and awake. If all the answers are within, and we add that to the idea that we all are the same thing, then your answers are still reflective and outside of you as well. So you can find answers to your own queries outside of you just as much as they say is within. Because if you're projecting this reality, then everything you see outside of you is actually inside of you. And you're walking around inside of your own mind. So thus we can find answers everywhere and anywhere as long as that's what the answers we're looking for. You can figure out anything you want. You just take your own journey. It's all going to work out the way you want it to. And there you go, Fire Jake. Thank you for that. Yes. Yeah, Fire Jake. The Iceman is Wim Hof. There he is. Ice Cube. That's interesting. And hey, cubing of the eyes. That's interesting. Ice tea and Ice Cube. Yeah. Yeah, Fire Jake. I mean, I hear you on the people that live in the cold climates. I think that's a you know, we all adapt. We're very adaptable to anything, and they're especially adapted to that environment. I wonder if they could live where it's hot, or if they would have to kind of level down, meaning, if you're somewhere that's hot and you get off where somewhere that's cold, it's going to be super cold. And when somewhere is super cold and you go somewhere that's hot, it's going to be super hot. Because there's your blood and your cells in your body are going to build up certain types of, I guess, cholesterol would probably be one of the things that's going on there. A lot of different lipids and fats and blah, blah, blah. If I'm using scientific words to make you feel more comfortable. If you live somewhere where it's cold, you're going to have more fat in your body, and your body's going to be used to the way you breathe, the way that everything you do is going to be suitable for that climate. Would you immediately, if you were sat somewhere that's hot, just like fucking die? I mean, the same thing could happen, and you know, you could freeze to death in the opposite direction. Because I remember when I first came to New Orleans from the Northeast, and the first couple weeks I was here, my hands felt like they were about to explode. I had fat hands. I wanted to go play basketball and I couldn't really dribble or shoot the basketball very well. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it was so weird because my hands just became these fat globs of ugh, because it was so hot. Because I'd come from a cold climate and all of a sudden I got everything else going on in my body that I'm just not used to. So there's a little bit of that works too. Yeah, Inferno Earth, I agree with you with that one. Yeah. Yeah, the ejaculation thing is an interesting one. I was with a couple chicks a while ago, and like sometimes I wouldn't finish, you know, because I just like, okay, this was a good sexual experience, and they felt very like, what was I like? They didn't say it out loud, but they were like, you're not done yet, like. I was like making sure she got off and blah blah blah, and it was almost like she was like, oh, am I not good enough? Am I, you know, am I not sexy enough? Am I not doing the right things? Because obviously you don't really go from having sex with people that every time you're having sex with a dude, they're always coming, and somebody's like, no, I'm good. She's like, huh? And so like a few times that would happen, and it was always kind of an interesting thing that would be like, and I'm like, no, it's like this, it's good. I just, how do you explain that to somebody who doesn't know anything about Tantra? Immune to the elements. Yeah, to a degree, I think we just have to be able to accept and access them whenever we want. You know, it's like, is that the one I want to use now? I mean, you're made of the elements, right? Alive and awake. Yeah, Michigan versus the tropics. Yeah, it's going to be wildly different, especially considering the kind of people that live those places. Have you ever been to Connecticut versus Staten Island? You ever been to the, just depending on the area you live, even slightly, the energy from the people around you is going to change. Wow, John. I mean, I don't want to dig too deep here, so you don't have to answer this if you don't want, man. But are you? You don't have to answer this, so obviously, are you getting a divorce? Was it on rocky shit? Are you still together? That was a decision. You know, I mean, you don't have to answer if you don't want to, dude. So, I hate fucking digging with people into their shit. So whenever I talk to people, I hardly ever ask them about anything in their life because I don't like to intrude or impose on their ideas, you know. But if you want to, I'll dig into it with you, or obviously offline if you want to, dude. Yeah, the cold is great for a lot of reasons, Fire Jake. Yeah, Inferno. That's it. It leaks a little. Peace out, D-Man. Yeah, Alive and Awake. Well, there's. I think John Shore probably knows the names of them, but I think it's you have 3 names for 3 different muscles. So the one that you're stopping your pee with is slightly different than the one you'd stop from taking a shit, which is one slightly different than the one in between where your taint is. And there's 3 different muscles there. Whole life is a meditation. Well, fuck it. We all been there plenty, man. All been there plenty. Oh well. You know what though? It's last time you were sober for whatever, you're sober for a few days, and then the next day, you ever be in there in your phone, and all of a sudden you're just like, what was I looking for? What was I doing? And all of a sudden you're doing something, you know, you lose all parts of your day and all sorts of things all the time anyway. So if you're generally a decent person, you know, you can't worry too much about those points, because a lot of times what you should guess is rather than having something bad happen, that you have your angels or your spirit guides. You know, how many people have gotten drunk and blacked out and drove home, but they got home? How the fuck did they get home? Because there was something else driving for them, and it was, if there is a good spirit or a good angel or something like that, I think that occurs. So this is not to say for people to go continually doing stupid shit. to go fucking black out or anything. That's not at all. But you should at least go, well, at least you got a couple angels on your side, huh? So life is a meditation, yeah. Just switch it up, man. Just switch it up. Just drink different. Change up what you're drinking, man. Sweet butt bittery, y'all. Sweet butt bittery, y'all. Why your picture is? Who are you? Why do I know who? Why do I know you by your picture and you're being funny? Who is that? Yeah, the Joker. The Joker knows. Did you say something? Wait, hold on. Let's see. Who said, let me show you something. Life is a meditation. I told a story about this card. It's too fucking funny, but I've been trying to get this card to somebody. I don't feel like telling the whole story again right now. I'll tell it another time. But yeah, I'm just carrying that card around for a little while now. Yeah, I've heard about the iron shirt. Yeah. Yeah, Amanda, I seen that. Allegedly Dave, his last one. Yep. John Shore, eat it, put it back in like urine. I don't know if that was related to the what the fuck is a mud flood. John Shore, you've never done any research into mud floods, dude? Wow, wow, wooey, dude. Have fun with that, man. Just start with, man, who's good with this? You guys can type in for John Shore the names of a couple people we could check out. Flat Earth British is one dude that does it. Another one is Mud Flood. Another one is John Levi, Jonlevi. Another one is Conspiracies Are Us. And one is Rebel Without a Pause. Pause, not cause. Rebel Without a Pause. And then if you look in their comment section, you'll find links to everybody else doing work on this shit. And it's as crazy and interesting as you'll find. It's so far out there, man. I mean, it's so obvious, but... 300 kegels. 300 kegels and counting. The male. Have you ever used deer antler? Deer antler. What do they call it? You know how they get kind of like fur on there, and they scrape the fur off the deer antlers, and they make a. Yeah, that's supposed to be super stamina rich. Juniperus, you said must be the 33 poser. Who are you talking about, Juniperus? John beyond all of the fucking prostate. John is the prostate master, man. You brought it up a couple times, man. I'm gonna go dig into that and see what that does. I will check it out, John Shore. Unknown benefits of coffee enemas. Unstance with the perfect joke for that. You never have to share your coffee again. Life is a meditation. You into that? The angry phase of Metallica. Oh, hey, the best way Inferno is get some hydrogen peroxide. I think that's the best way to go about it. Just use hydrogen peroxide. I'm sure urine will do it, but hydrogen peroxide is going to be far and away better. Amanda Mallet, you said women are okay, but you can't beat the real thing. I'm not catching your bit of humor there. Women are okay. What is the real thing, if I must ask? Or is that in a joke to heroin or heroines? I'm guessing maybe you did that, but I don't know. David T, who built the pyramids, not humans? No, I think just highly evolved humans that probably live on a different, whatever you consider humans. I don't know, man. That's a really difficult one to just throw out there. It's like, what do you consider human? What species? I mean, obviously, the race or species that you'd call Asian is much different than what you'd call black. But you know, it's not black; it's just very highly melanated. And what you'd consider Aryan or white is much different than what you'd call Indian. You know, so these we're all human, right? I mean, that's what's up. That's raw. But as far as who built the pyramids, I think the pyramids were built with hemp and lime juice, or lime, like pickling lime or some sort of lime. This is why it's limestone. I think limestone comes from the use of hemp and lime, and the bricks were not moved from somewhere. I think they were using hemp that was it grew fast, and how easy would it be to make bricks like that when you can just carry sticks and put them together and put them there? You know, I think that's probably how it was done. And then they encased it with depending on what pyramid you're talking about. It depends. You know, some were built with. They're all piezoelectric. Some were built with granite. Some with different types of stones. And then the capstone. I'm kind of I'm kind of leaning towards that the capstone wasn't gold or silver, but was well, everybody thinks it's gold, but I think the capstone was probably a different element altogether. Well, I mean, not altogether, because it's actually a higher form of element that combines gold, silver, and copper. Let me see how much time I got in here. Yeah, so little juice on this, man. I don't know how deep I want to get into this. So the word you're looking for is electrum. I think that the top of these pyramids were made of electrum, and I think the pyramids themselves, no matter where you go, were probably made out of hemp and lime that became then concreted, that became the stone, and then the stone was encased with a piezoelectric stone. So I think that's more likely how things were built. Just like all of these other walls are like, how are these walls? It's like the shapes of things are like really weird. And I think it's because they weren't placing the stones there, like cutting them and then placing them. It was just the way that they just like put a bunch of hemp and lime, and then hardened that way, and then they put the next piece in there, because you can mash it up any way you want it. Just like concrete, it'll form any way you want it. So concrete, hemp, lime, and if they were really wise, which they probably were, they probably added ground up crystals into the hemp mixture, which made it resonant and added to its piezoelectric qualities. John, belly come eater. Fruits should clean the blood pretty good, man. Yeah, so David T, hopefully that little, I'm back a little farther behind. I'm about 10 minutes behind you. I'm going to try to catch up. So hopefully David T, where he said they're too heavy, I think that, I mean, no doubt there was advanced technology. And I think the mud floods show proof of that a long time ago there was a lot higher level of understanding from different, maybe I think, it seems that these gateways that are in between the realms, there are people from other realms that come into where Atlantis is, where we live. And I think there's Aryans that are ahead of time, and I think there's the Hyperboreans and the Lemurians that are ahead of time in the future, basically, that know that we're here doing things with technology that our civilization weren't aware of and couldn't be aware of. It's kind of like you try to teach somebody something and they couldn't know it. You have to build, there's too many pieces of knowledge you need to know that next piece. You couldn't just know you could just levitate something without knowing that harmonics exist. Well, you can't know harmonics exist without also knowing that musical scales exist like this. And you couldn't know musical scales without, there's all precursors for that knowledge of, say, levitation. So maybe they were levitated and put there. Maybe they were cut with sonic sound. Maybe there were shamans sitting around building with their minds and their mouths. I mean, I don't doubt that either. But I think as far as we can see, I think it was built by people that had a little bit of an understanding, and they used those things to amplify understanding. They built a pyramid to amplify the understanding of what they had, of what they were building. They used the device they built to multiply their consciousness of the device they built. Does that, remember when Kubrick made the movie where it was about the monkeys, Space Odyssey 2001, where the monkeys are touching the big slab of marble that is actually in the same ratio that a TV is, and there's this whole psychology that he's breaking into, and there's a lot of people that have broke this movie down in so many beautiful ways. One is 9/11 and Stanley Kubrick, where they break down what was going on with it was 9/11, Stanley Kubrick, and Back to the Future. Back to the Future. Oh no, wait. Oh, let me redact that statement. It's two separate movies. One is 9/11 and Back to the Future. That one it has a lot of these ideas, but then there's one that is Stanley Kubrick that is broken down by if somebody knows this, help me with this. He wrote a book. He did a lot of things at the same time. He kind of gave me the same vibe as. I know I'm taking a very long path to get to this guy's name because I can't remember it off the top of my brain. How to find his name here? All of his articles a lot of them were about Stanley Kubrick, and I can see his name, and he made a movie about it too, and he did things about NASA and Stanley Kubrick, and he reminded me a lot of Lloyd Pye in the way that he was, and anyways, the point of that was getting back to the original statement about there's the movie of the Twin Towers and Back to the Future, and the guy that gets into that, which is super amazing, they use Robert Zemeckis and how he breaks the movies down, and then the other dude uses Kubrick in much the same way to express a very similar thing. So I'm sorry that turned into like a weird ass you probably won't be able to decode that, but those two guys really made amazing movies is what I was getting at. David T, you are only mentally healthy if you have the ability to stop thinking. I don't agree with that whatsoever in any way, man. No, it's not. I don't. Unless you're just saying. I mean, unless you're saying it in a way that I'm not understanding. No, I don't think so. Thoughts are not under your. It's not your realm. That's not your control. Thinking about thoughts. I mean, I get the niceness of just going, oh, you know, being in a silent observation mode and having no thought of what it is, like saying, okay, I'm not. What is this? Just staring at it intently. It's not a cup. What is its purpose? What is it doing? You know, I get all of that, but no, I don't think that. I don't think that's what it takes to be healthy mentally. Oh, nice, man, John Shore. Well, I'll put out some positive tantric energies into the world for you, man. Oh man, Devo man, that's. Yeah, I hear you, John. David T, I like the life hack, man. Do you think it filters any of the good stuff from it, man? And when you say smoke, I'm guessing you mean anything, or are you saying specifically herbs? And how much, like, I get you, because there is a difference between filtering the carbons and filtering it and getting the, you know, it's like why people use water pipes, you know. But do you think that's stopping any of the good stuff getting through, or no? I mean, I dig it, but speaking of smoking something. Antler of Velvet, good for your testosterone levels, yes. David T, have I ever consciously astral projected? Yeah, plenty of times. Most of my earliest videos are on teaching people about lucid dreaming, astral projection, and what the realms are and things like that. So yeah, I can, if you know there's a difference between, I'm guessing you do, there's a difference between astral projection, astral travel, out-of-body experiences. Like, there's kind of different ways. It's hard to explain to people that don't know. And even if you do know, it's still even hard while you're in that. Like, are you projecting yourself? Do you have the silver cord? Or are you just walking through walls? Are you in your house? Are you in a different time? These are all different things. But yeah, sure, man. It's not too much recently. I used to be very, very much into the idea that the getting out of body was what's up and where it's at, and it still is. But I much less consciously try to get out of body now, because there's a place, it seems to be, for me at least, that the delta realm of sleeping is very healing to the body, and that when you're actually traveling and actually projecting, that your body is probably in a more of a theta realm, and it's not going to be doing as much healing work on the body. So if you're exhausting yourself in this realm a lot, you can't also go into the other realms as both things are extracting to a degree energy from you. And so to rebuild your energy, if you're doing anything in this realm, you need to get into delta sleep there. Hopefully that makes sense, man. Inferno, that's crazy, man. Yeah, the flat earth thing, man, that's... I don't know, you know, I'm only happy that I'm not... That I'm not, like, I didn't learn about this in high school. Because I don't, you know, I don't think I would have done anything about it. I don't know. You know, I wasn't like a badass in kid. I wasn't a badass in school. I wasn't, you know, like... I wasn't anti-authority, or not even that I am now. I just, you know, I didn't have any of that knowledge in my system. But I knew kids, like, if they had that piece of information, they'd have been like, yo, the earth is fucking flat, motherfucker. And they would be, like, mad that everybody, you know, I knew those kids, right? So that's got to be, it's got to be interesting. Modified tobacco. Fire Jake, what do you think he is doing right now? Was that for me or for somebody else? What's up, Rod Law? What going on this evening? What's up, Rod Law? Yeah, meditation cleans the garbage. I think the meditation cleans your brain. It stills the waters in your brain and cleans your brain. And it helps with the body too, but I think most of the meditation should be walking meditations for the body. Hey John, I'm reading your thing. It says prostate stagnation in the area leads to pee issues. Massage it regularly, clears the block. Homo receivers. I'm guessing you meant hormone, but unless you're talking about like you're a bottom, John. John the bottom, the homo receiver. It's not too PC in this room. I'm still allowed to make these kind of jokes. Yeah, and like as I'm sitting here, as you're saying sedentary, like I always get kind of like antsy when I'm sitting down, and I gotta like squish my butt around a little bit and like do a little bit kegel here and there. Like I don't call them kegels, but yeah, you know, squeeze those muscles around a little bit, get things moving. Oh, that's Ace, sweet butt bittery, Secretary Lens. Yes, change the name. Thank you. I knew. Okay, yeah. Now it fully. Right on. Well, good to see you, Secretary Lens. Go change the name, change the game. John Shore, you said you have your groin lingam de-armored. I don't know what that means. Is that some secret coded language that I should look up? Does that mean you had some surgery done, you cut something? Groin lingam de-armored. If I had to decode that, that would to me mean you got your penis cut off. That would be a groin lingam de-armoration. Would that, or does that just mean you had? Does that mean you got you were circumcised? Wouldn't your armor be your the skin? Because then you got the helmet. Am I thinking about this too much, John? Yeah, the seeking. Yeah, what's isn't what they call them, the Sikhs, the SEIKSs, the Sikhs. What are you looking for? It's like to be instantaneously not looking for anything and being comfortable in your own skin with what you're doing, and also at the same time, there is a future. There is something that you'd like to do. You know, eventually you'll like to sit in a new position. Eventually you'll like to drink something different. Eventually you'll like to see a different color. Like those, but for now in this space, isn't that the what they say at the beginning of the meditation for the Reiki practitioners? Right now, for this moment here, we are comfortable. We're everything we need to be. We are whole. We are plenty. We are good. Right now, for this moment, you know, that's like that. But then at the same time, the advancement to that is, if you're only comfortable with what you are, that's all you'll ever be, and you'll get very stagnated and bored there. You have to be comfortable with what you are and where you are, but also have a certain sort of, there's more pretty colors, there's more pretty lights everywhere. Rodlaw, am I aware of the C8? No, I'm not. But I'm sure it's got to be fucking horrific. If it's coming from Teflon, yeah, I would assume that's pretty. Well, that's interesting. Rodlaw, that's called C8. I mean, if you think of it, C4 is an explosive. What is C8? I don't know, but yeah, Teflon, man, ain't the way to cook, man. And I've heard of the purple plates. I didn't know they were attributed to him. I'm in the boat, in the thought process that he never existed. I don't think Tesla existed. I don't really believe that. I like the ideas, but I think it's a larger thing to. If I put it in the simplest way possible, it's so you can identify with what Tesla was, and what a great, everybody's like, oh, Tesla. And now all of a sudden, what do you think of? You think of a Tesla car. But a Tesla car has nothing to do with any of Tesla's technology, nor what his attitude was. So if he did exist, then it's shitting on him and just laughing in the fucking face of it. So your boy, Elon Musky Butts, or whatever the fuck his name is, musty, stinky boy, what the fuck he is, he gonna name a car Tesla, but then actually provide nothing that Tesla was pushing for, which was free energy for everyone, and wasn't using that technology. That was so. I think it's just a code word for something, and I think, you know, the entity of what Tesla stood for is just an idea, and I think it's helpful in a lot of ways, but I think it's also used in a very weird way. I'm not going to go too far with that. I've done it before. I'll leave that there, just in that sense, because this is almost dead here. I still have a little more juice from this charger here. John Shore, you heal like a distant. Yes, I mean we are in Atlantis. Firedrake, first humans talk through imagery and no sounds. Yeah, it's supposed to. It would seem that way. It seemed like the shamans were producing images, but I can't. I'm still back and forth on whether the sounds were just organic sounds that were cymatics, that the cymatics then took form or shape. So they were just using sounds that you would say like and that actually produced some sort of shape in front of someone. So I can't tell you, because in the beginning was the word, but then there's also like everything was light. So is it the sound or is it the light? So I'd like to have a happy dialogue between the two of those, because I can't place it. But when we say talk through imagery, would be the telekinetic, that like I want to put a vision inside of your head and we'll do it back and forth. So in that way, yes, I agree with you there, man. Inferno, start your own business, man. I don't know. You gotta start with what interests you. That's a really, really, really big question, man. Inferno, you gotta start with whatever interests you, that you're really into. That will always lead away to something better, because you're gonna want to advance whatever that is. It could be something that some people think are stupid. Like there's all sorts of people that are super rich off of dumb things, like things that you're just like, what the fuck?
Excuse me, big brother.
What's up, brother?
Mind if I buy a cigarette from you?
I don't even smoke like that, my friend. Good to
I
see
thought
you.
you were about to curse me out. Like, man, I got proud.
No, not at all. Huh? It's good to see
I
you.
just come on doing 20
Sorry about that,
years.
bro. We just been having
Yeah.
a little rough time. Somebody
Yep.
was getting
You
in.
thirsty? I got another beverage.
Yeah. My dude.
Oh shit! I always got something in my bag for my friends. What you talking about?
Sorry to bother you, bro. Somebody just
Yeah, I just
somebody
told
was
him.
just getting into
I'm sorry,
a lady's face.
So you ever had to think for other people?
Huh?
You ever had to think for other people?
Gotta think about other people.
No, you ever,
This is
you ever had
local,
to think
too,
for
yeah.
other people?
Yeah.
Like,
I hear you. I
No,
hear you.
some lady, some dude was getting some lady's face, and then fucking, I said
excuse
something.
me.
I stepped in
Cheers,
between.
thank you.
Good to see you.
I stepped in between, like, and said, "Hey, bro, that's a lady. You ain't got to be like that with a lady." And then he
Yeah.
went to get all fucking squared off on me, fucking talking about like he had some like little thing dangling from his neck. He was like, "You gonna hit a federal agent? You gonna hit a federal agent?" Dude was drunk as fuck. And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Bro, I'm not even gonna hit you. I'm just saying, don't
Look at all.
yell at the lady." Yeah, right.
Just gotta breathe it. Yes.
Yeah, right?
Take a breath here and there, my friend.
Right?
Hey, so I got a little video I'm doing right here. So let me.
I'm sorry about
Hey, no
that.
worries,
I
no worries,
apologize.
no worries
Hey.
though. Blessings all around.
Hey, blessings,
Stay well,
bro.
Unbound. Do beautiful things, you know.
brother.
No worries.
Sorry about that, bro.
No worries at all, man.
Word
No
up,
worries.
yeah.
Hey, have a great night,
Unbound.
brother.
Yeah. Stay well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yerp.
Merry Christmas, huh?
Yeah. Same to
Happy
you.
New Year.
Happy
Uh huh.
Yeah, you
Always.
know what? Smart kid.
Yes.
I
Yes.
know you is.
It's good to see you. David C. This is the correct answer to what you just said. If the entire I like this. This is a really good statement you just made because I've had this. I think that's a basic thing that everybody needs to comprehend. And I'll say it out loud. You said if the entire physical universe would explode all at once and everything be destroyed, would godliness be destroyed? No, because godliness is the space in which it all unfolds. Yes. You can't explode space. So a physical object is secondary. It's a secondary thing. It's kind of like saying ones and zeros. Well, zero is the... See, this is where people get confused if you say male or female. If I say zero is the female because it represents female, which is empty space, which is the cave or womb of creation, you can't destroy it. I mean, think about it. You can stick everything you want in there. You can't destroy it. It's an empty space. You could break a one in half. You could break a one, anything masculine or the idea of a reality. You could break that shit up, right? But then they confuse you again. They call, oh, matter is ma. So the ma, the mother is matter. But then they confuse you again. They say maya or ma. Maya means illusion. So illusion is what? So what's holding space? Obviously, density can't hold space. It can be inside of space. Can space hold density? Space holds density, but density cannot hold space. Tricks of the language. The initiation ritual was in the pyramid. I've heard about that in many ways about that, and one of the ways that I heard about that was through Drunvalo Melchizedek, I believe, talking about the swimming underwater and and crocodiles and swimming underneath the pyramids and things. I'm pretty sure of that idea. Life is a meditation. You have to give me a little deeper on what initiation into what? Into the underworld, the afterlife, all of that, or just some sort of another set of consciousnesses. Inferno, I hear you about that. So there's a lot of things that would probably like think of seeds and planting seeds and growth, and what does that, naturally. You could get into farming. You get into not systems of knowledge that are actually furthering furthering our species, our beings, the planet. You could look into, I don't know, man. I would start with I mean, even the computer systems. You can't. Anybody that's like anti-technology. Technology ain't wrong. It's just being sometimes misused or used ineffectively. Well, there you go, Fire Jake. Thank you for saying what I was just trying to say. Yeah. And we got to remember that when we see something on paper, it's all in flat dimension, barely 2 dimension. It's like 2 dimension, but pyramids are always in 3 dimensions. Fire Jake, very funny. He said, looking at dolmens, they were used by people that are much wiser than the ones using the pyramids. Speaking of the word dolmen, the book that I've presented to you guys a few times, and maybe I'll tell the whole story here. Maybe I won't. I'll save it for another video. I'll call the next video will be about this entire story, but here's the short story. The word dolmen is the word Tolman. And there's this book that I put people onto called the Pharmacist Desk Reference, F-A-R-M, not P-H-A-R-M, Pharmacist Desk Reference. And his last name is Tolman. He talks about dolmens. So I'll leave you with that because the whole story is pretty interesting, like absurdly interesting to me. Like almost where I'm kind of like, you can see I'm kind of like, every time I think about the story, like it's like, how did that occur? How about this? I'm gonna pause this. I have to piss. I'm gonna have to pause this. I'm gonna go run inside real quick, and maybe when I come back, I'll tell this story. Cause when I can go inside, I can put my other thing on charge. So give me 3 minutes so I can charge my other battery, and we'll go from there. So just give me a second. I'm gonna black the screen out for a second. Okay, we're back. Okay, here's the short story. If you're here, I'll tell it. Let's see, how many years ago? Wow. 26 years ago. Is that right? Yeah. 26 years ago. It was the craziest thing. I don't know if it was a weekend or a weekday. I think it was a weekend. And the dude that was raising me, because I'm adopted, took me to this like a work event. It wasn't. It was like he had to go there for something for work. It was really weird. Because he never would. There was no reason for him to take me to these events. Like there was like, you know, he worked in publishing, like newspapers and shit. Like, it just wasn't really a reason to take me. Anyway, so I went to this event with them, and this guy, his name was Don Tolman, was there, and he had this learning system. It was called SMART, sensory motor aroma recall technology, and it like, so half of the presentation that he was doing was all about this business thing, and blah blah blah, and then the portion of it was like helping people with business, and because he worked for like Pitney Bowes, was it Pitney Bowes? No, what the fuck the name? Like big fucking marketing companies and shit. Pitney Bowes, I think. And part of it was him selling this thing that he did, which was the system. And so I got that. And like I didn't really, I used it a little bit, and I learned from it, and then I just remember, just out of nowhere, like years later, I just thought of this dude's name. I don't know why, and I looked him up, and he'd just written a new book, and it was this giant book called the Pharmacist's Desk Reference. It was just a really weird set of circumstances that led me to this dude, and he's like it's really there's more parts to this story that I think I'll leave untended to here, because it's just too interesting. But anyways, the connection to Dolmans is this dude is a dolmen of knowledge, and that if you ever can find anything he's done, it's so limited on the internet. You can look up his name, Dontolman, and the dude is, he's out there, yo. He's got extra knowledge. I didn't really know where I was going to go with that story, other than to say, like, I met this dude years and years ago, and it's really weird. And then I seen a picture of him, and like, he looked exactly the same. I don't think he ages. Yeah, David, see, I like that, where you said it is not the particular activity which impacts other people's consciousness, but is your own degree. Yes. Life is this is kratom. Yeah. Yeah, it's excellent. I basically, you're not supposed to drink with it, but I know where each one of these, I know the elements enough to know how much I can, like, let's see, I finished a beer and I've had like half of a cup of that, and I can have some kava and maybe smoke something a little bit. I don't know. So I can just keep it slow and paced, and I can kind of find that comfortable mental physical hybrid because of them. David T, I hear you on the if your thoughts are voluntary, but I don't think, David T, I don't, what thought is voluntary? What is the source of thoughts? Thus much the same as the source of creation. I don't know what is voluntary and what is involuntary, because there's so much there's so much that we've been programmed with, that how much could you call that voluntary? Like, is it voluntary? Like, think of it this way, like, you know, they'd say the draft for the war. Like, was that voluntary or involuntary? I mean, getting, you know, signing up for like certain, there's so many, if you understand what I'm saying, there's so many things that we consider voluntary that, like, no, they weren't. Like, you think it was some kid's choice to go play baseball when they're 5 years old? No, that's because their dad loved baseball and they want, oh, I love baseball too, Dad. Like, they didn't really have a choice in the matter. So at what point do people find themselves having voluntary thought? Which is funny because it has to do with volunteerism and volunteering. But like, even in that, some people volunteer only because they think that's what they're supposed to do. It's like, your thoughts are right because Jesus told you to, you know. I'm just kind of adding to the dialogue for you about volunteer. I know what you're saying, but I don't. If you don't know what the source of a voluntary thought is, then you can't really have one. Pharmacist, coming from the root words that basically mean poison. The Karmakutical. Industry. Industry, yeah. Well, juniperus, I've heard it as in the Indus Valley, as the tree of Indus. So industry. But I've never heard of the industry, but I like that. I've seen the movie Johnny Mnemonic. John Shore. John Shore is always a bounty of facts. Outgrowing therapy, interesting, John. Cool. Yeah, John Shore. I could see how that would be very. I would see how that would be obviously right. Like if you had thyroid cancer and you started rubbing on this, it would loosen that shit up, right? Right? You got a little something back here. You start rubbing on these things, yeah. Like rubbing my nuts, I'm gonna have a very low rate of testicular cancer, right? So, massage of that. So if you're getting a massage right in the butthole on the prostate, yeah, you can't really go wrong with that. Justin saying, I think that's part of, well, because that's half of the law of attraction. Justin saying, just go listen to Neville Goddard. Neville Goddard is what you're looking for. And when you let go of something, it shows up because in your mind, if you just let go of an idea, you don't have, let me do this for you. When you make a sigil, the reason you make a sigil is you write something down and you form an idea in your mind. It's a picture that then turns into words. Then I take those words and I make an image that becomes a sigil. And with that sigil, I can either burn it or I can throw it away. I can put it into the water. I can do a lot of things with that. I can keep it and stare at it, but that's not the best way to do it. But if I burn it, what happens then is it works in the magical realm and in the psychological realm as well, which is the very, obviously, the metaphysician, the magic physicians. What's happening is you're taking a conscious idea and you're putting it into the subconscious mind where it develops and it creates. And if you continually have thoughts about it, it starts to reproduce. It'll start back at the beginning again. Should I think about this again? Well, let's go back from the beginning. Did we do anything wrong? And you keep thinking about it again. You start rewriting it again. So it actually never comes to fruition. If you always say, I need $1, I need it, I'm always going to need $1. If I say I have $1, and then I burn that sigil, I don't have to think about it. All of a sudden I have $1 in my hand. it's because you're not allowing your conscious mind to block your subconscious. Like that's like a seed. When you put a seed in the ground, that's subconscious. That's in the dirt. It's in the dark. You just have faith that will grow. And that faith for the magician or somebody that uses sigils is let's burn it. So that way my hands are clean of it. I can't even look at it again. You've burned a sigil that actually represented all that shit into the subconscious realm, and you can't do anything about it now. So you just expect it to come. And so when you let something go, that's what happens. If you kept digging that seed up, looking at it, you would kill it. And you would never get it. And that's the same thing as continually focusing on something. If you already know that you've planted an orange tree, you wouldn't for any second believe that that's going to come out as grapefruits, right? You wouldn't think it's going to come out as bananas. You know it's going to come out as oranges. The second step would not only going to come out as oranges, I don't even need to pay attention to it because it's just going to grow. So you just plant the seed and you walk away. All of a sudden you walk by, oh, I forgot I planted those. Isn't that nice? And that's what the thoughts are in the mind. Fire Drake, I like that. Yeah, man, the attraction is the build-up, and you have to get to the point of, and then express it. It's partly like writing anything down or making a sigil is it's extremely powerful. I choose not to do it too often. I've told people this 1,000 times and why I don't. Because of one specific reason is what Dan Winter says is you're here to learn to take your memories through death, and your memories do not include a pencil and a piece of paper. And so that's the only reason I don't do it too often. I mean, there are certain times and it should be used, and it, you know, obviously we have the capacity to, with a pen and paper, and we can create and design all sorts of things, and we should. Everybody should do that. I just don't like to rely on it, so I try not to teach people to do that too often, because they become too reliant on it, where it should be your mind that's manifesting it. But if you can't get it out of your mind, then write it down, and then, yeah. Inferno, Spider-Man. David C. Yeah, the clingy is a good word. Don't be sticky. Don't be clinging to things. Do I think there's reptilians? Sure, why not? Sure. There's reptiles. Think about this. There's giraffes. Those things are weird as fuck. Nobody believes in unicorns. All it is a fucking horse with one fucking thing on its head, right? But giraffes exist, and a duck-billed platypus exists, and a cat is obviously a hybrid of a snake and another feline, right? Like a big cat. A big cat's eyes are circular. A cat's eyes is Vesca Pisces. That you could look at a cheetah. A cheetah is not like the other cats. A cheetah is much like a dog and a cat. A cheetah is a dog cat. And a cat is a snake lion. Why not? I don't see why not. And I don't think they're all bad or all good or nothing. I don't. Sure, I think things can shapeshift. I think you could probably do it yourself. I think you could probably, if you've done enough, if you've been on a body or you ever done enough psychedelics, I mean, certainly these things happen. Oh, I'm a little farther back here. Fire Jake. I'm at when my dude came through and wanted a wanted a beverage. Yeah. I know. You gotta watch out for these ones. Yeah, David, see, I dig all that right there, man. Yeah, calming and silencing the mind is a great idea. Yeah, I guess we're all going to the same place. Ram Dass said we're just walking each other home. A fool in his folly will become wise. You can use so many different statements there, but yeah. Unstens, I haven't heard of Drunvalo in about 9 years. I probably, damn, even farther than that. Probably like 12 years ago, I really fucked with Drunvalo. I haven't really seen much of his stuff. The Flower of Life books. I've heard of the Inferno. I've heard of the Golden Dawn. I didn't know of the middle pillar technique. David T, that's some amazing stuff. The essence now is the space, but the form is never the same. Yes, it's like a burning candle. It's always a new flame. Yes. All right, Amanda, if you're still here, peace out. Life is a meditation. Dogma is am God. I think it's more of ma God, but yeah, I get you. Mother God. Like, who is your God? I am God? Yeah. And that does become someone's God, just as much as their diet or their deity, their eating. The eating is someone's God. Yeah. Inferno, I wonder this too. What's up, Cortese? Hey, Core, is it quartz or is it Cortese, or is it for us to just decipher ourselves? Unstance, a short story. Sipping on that scissor. Yeah, that's yeah, the idea of evolution is an interesting, it's allegory, but I do enjoy it. I like what you said there. Land creature eventually becomes a star. Nothing wrong with the sloth, man. Sloth is an amazing creature. Just coagulating information. This is correct. How many times there'll be 3 days I'll be like just all up in my little hole, just like taking all of my whatever I did for 2 or 3 days, and I just like, well, I'm gonna need 2 or 3 days to compress all of this information. Well, thank you, Unstance. Yeah, life is a meditation, and there's a few people out there that they're talking about stars being made of negatively ionized hydrogen. Negatively ionized hydrogen is the, I think, birthing point of a star. And I assume there's something to do with urine when you get into negatively ionized hydrogen. So play around with that a little bit. Ah, renew. Renew is a good word. Yes, Fire Jake. Zet Chrono, the only other time I've heard anyone or seen that typed is the Zelda Ocarinas of Time or Ocarinas of Time, and I don't even know what that means. Are they like the ocean creatures? I never, you know what's funny? I only played the game a couple times. I mean, I played the old Zelda, but never played that one. Yeah, what is it? Genius is born, but idiots are self-bestowed. How does this go? What is the? It's a really great quote. Genius is self-bestowed. Oh, maybe somebody can find the rest of that quote. And you guys, I only have 5% of this battery left. You guys might be ass out of Zen in a second. But I do have another battery charging, so we'll see what happens. back to Metallica, brah. Trying to catch up here, y'all. So sorry if I don't answer everything that you guys are chatting about here. Oh, the Smiths, huh? More of them damn Smiths locking things up, huh? I hear you. Life is a meditation. But you know what I think that anything, even if we go back to the original thought that everything is self. Anything, even external, is self-inquiry. Isn't it? It's just a matter of the inquiry would be like if I consume this every day all the time and didn't give it any second thought as to why and what's going on in here and become an alchemist of understanding what's in the cup, that would be a lack of self-inquiry. You know, just to eat the McDonald's every day and never consider the benefit it might be giving or the way it's harming you. Like that would be the inquiry, even if it's extracellular, outside of self. Planting puppies and kittens. Yeah, catnip. I mean, and you can smoke catnip too. Catnip is nice. It's very common.